So, I've got this nice big spoiler image up. I've got this image of Mando with the child Grogu in his bag, so that everybody will know that this is a spoiler talk. Stop watching
Finally.
now. Stop watching now. If you're watching this, it's on you.
You have been warned. Nothing is off limits, and we will have full ruthlessness.
We're talking about
moving
all
forward.
Of it. Talking about all of it. So, having said that, let me get right to it. Thank you for joining us. What's the thing I've been doing lately? I've been like, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, we thank you for joining us. We are your Grown A Geeks. I am Sam. This is Brent. That is Will. We are doing a quick little admin chat, and I just want to say now we are recording this in advance to be loaded when we open up the embargo on Mandalorian. We'll just say it now, get it out the way. We're not doing this next season. We're not doing this for any more shows. Look, they release one a week. It comes out Friday. Some people are catching it Thursday at midnight. If we don't spoil it, somebody else gonna spoil it. I make it a point sometimes to kind of avoid being online. Like, I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to watch it till Friday evening, and there were people Friday morning when I went to check my alerts that morning, they were already talking like, "Oh man, nope, close." Taking no
Hit the
chances.
panic button. Get out of there.
Right, taking no chances, because all it's gonna take is all the different media outlets. You know what I'm saying? It's like IGN or comicbook.com or, comic book resources. There's all these various sites that are going to have their information, and they're going to do their take on it. And of course, they're going to like blank out a particular word or a name or something like that, thinking that they're, saving you from spoilers, but they're going to have an image and it's going to ruin it. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to be. And then you have some people who just want to see the world burn, and they're going to make it a point to like talk about it openly and just not even care. Fortunately,
those people see themselves way out on my friend page and in group. Just have a nice day. Carry on.
And that's just one of those things. I mean, it's one thing if you like accidentally spoil it or say something, but it's like some of the comments that I've seen just in regards to the season finale of Mandalorian season 2. There was one comment, I posted something. I was just like, hey, this right here, and I used the title of the episode. I was like, The Rescue. This is why we love Star Wars. This is the feeling, that sentiment. This is the type of excitement we want from it. And honestly, that excitement was there even before the big reveal. You know what I'm saying? I was like all hyped in that episode. And then we got more on top of that. And they just kept raising the stakes. So how do you guys want to do this? Where do you want to start? Do you want to do like a quick recap of the season? Do we want to, like, how do we want, you know what, Brent, I know you are ready. So you know what, we're going to go Brent, then I'm going to let Will go, and then I will give my closing thoughts.
All right, so we'll just have some fun with that. First things first, pertaining to your comments about we'll go episode by episode. I apologize for those who I have talked to in group about memes. I know it's pertaining to group rules. I erred in judgment. It was a trial and error phase. It was more of an error phase. So next season will be going good. But back to Mandalorian. I got 3 takes. Well, 3 complaints. The whole season. That is it. Overall, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, I worship the ground you walk on. You guys are exemplary people to move forward and make as much Star Wars content as possible. You can literally attach their name to any Star Wars project. My butt's going to be in a seat somewhere paying X amount of dollars or whatever streaming service I have to get to see what they're going to put out.
Yeah.
Episode 2 of this season, completely useless. It didn't pertain to anything we saw at all the entire season. It had no purpose. It wasn't even good filler. It was just a filler episode. You wasted 40 minutes of screen time where we could have spent developing a character, developing an actual plot line, anything else. No, just Mando and Grogu being chased by spiders with the frog lady.
Ultimately, I believe at the end of the day, that ended up being more of a
throwaway episode.
Not even so much a throwaway episode, because
it felt like Naruto filler to me. Like it was there. I just didn't care for it.
Naruto filler. You know what? I can see why you might say that. But at the same time, I kind of feel like ultimately that ended up doing them a lot more harm than good. That episode is that was chapter 10, The Passenger. And much like you said, that was the frog lady. It gave us, as far as what did it add to the overall story, it showed that as a person, Mando is still human. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, okay, look, ship's busted. This ain't happening. I'm done, lady. Okay, sorry, we ain't gonna make it. And of course, the frog lady started like calling his. She was like, I thought you were supposed to be a Mandalorian. Like, where's your honor? You said you would do this. Da 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 da. And then we see, like, despite everything, he's like, okay, fine. You know what? You're right. And I believe that was the only thing they were trying to establish. That and Grogu's love of eggs. I think that was.
Because Mando is proven himself as one of the king of side quests for many reasons. Every episode he gets some new side quest he has to go take care of. It's just a matter of time before this becomes a video game at this point, with how many different things you can just go out and do. But my second point is a more or less complaint pertaining to the handling of the Darksaber. You made it seem so mysterious, so powerful. And if you saw the ending of Rebels, also spoiler there, you need to catch up for this point. Bo-Katan claims possession of the Darksaber. It's literally given to her. She reclaims rulership of Mandalore. Cool. Through whatever reason, loses it. Why the hell does it now have to be won in combat? Who changed this rule between her losing it and Moff Gideon getting it? Who decided that this is a brand new tradition? Filoni, this is literally on you. You're the one that set this stipulation.
New rule.
You're like, you set up the old content to piggyback off of it for The Mandalorian. These things are not the same. Why? What did you change? Why are there no answers? Why can't you just...
We might have an answer.
Have good continuity.
I think Will has an answer. Will, you got an answer for that?
I don't think I have a particular answer. All right. Well, let me jump back to the other episode real quick. To The Passenger. One, yes, I think it was establishing Grogu's love of eggs, which, by the way, that was like right when you gave the spoiler warnings for that, you mentioned Grogu. That was a spoiler right off rip, because nobody knew what his name was until the other episode. But no, with that, I think it was more or less to establish his get out of jail free card, so to speak. Because what happened with the X-Wing fighter, that came in at the end and stuff like that. You did this. It's more or less to kind of clean up. We're not chasing you right now. We're ending that little pursuit chase. So that was like that little side quest type thing that was going on. Gotcha. We're ending that. We're good and stuff like that, to give that guy some more screen time, because he's obviously used later on to continue, his little investigation or whatever he's got going on. So
when he ends up talking to Cara Dune. So
yeah. So
if it's trying to show the New Republic, then yeah, I get it. But you could have gone
they could have gone deeper with it. They could have gone a little bit more in depth with it. They could have let the little spider thing just be more actual filler than a whole episode filler. It could have just been kind of like a little piece. But I kind of think that's where possibly they were going with it. As far as the Darksaber, now this is something that I was doing some reading, and I was talking with different people online and stuff like that. Somebody was talking about illegitimacy claims and stuff like that, to where Bo-Katan was probably not recognized as the ruler, so to speak, because of how she obtained it back during the show when it was given to her. Because of that, and that's kind of where it was going. So with that, like she wasn't recognized because she didn't win it in combat. That's where the illegitimacy comes in, so like that, and that's one of the reasons why when she lost it and stuff like that, she actually lost it through battle because she wasn't. Nobody defended her, nobody whatever, so that because she proclaimed herself the ruler, but she didn't do it by the terms of the sword. Now, granted, that's not what was said back then and stuff like that, but
Yeah, this is all logical inferences. We haven't had anything.
Yeah, this is all
concrete.
inferences. Nothing is concrete. Again, everything I'm saying is just speculation. And it's one of the reasons why, everybody was just talking about it. So there are ways for them to kind of clean this up if, they want to and stuff like that. Plus, we don't know what they have in store for season 3. Season 3, I think that they definitely should be shedding more light on it because now we have, Mandalorian and Bo-Katan technically could now be the antagonist of the story if she's going to be chasing him, trying to come after him because he's got nothing holding him back right now. Mandalorian's free and clear to,
Yeah, he don't care about any rules anymore. He's like, Mask, don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, screw that. It was 3 times this season.
He has completed his mission. What he was charged with doing, he has done. And being in possession of the Darksaber at the end, it does open up some potential story points. They could do a couple of different things. And even then, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, if they say, okay, it has to be won in battle, like, is this like, does it have to be to the death? Does someone have to die? Because Gideon's not
like, if it's just a regular duel, it'd be like, it just could be a thing. But Gideon was left alive as a mercy role, and he, because Mando was like, I don't care about killing you. I'm here for the child.
Right. No, and I get that.
My mission.
And even when he walks in with the child, even when he walks in with Gideon, she looks back, and of course she's in, shock and awe and whatnot. And of course, we come to find out that the reason there's like what's going on here is because, of course, and she even says when they're on the ship, she's like, he's mine. Like, it was a point that she didn't want anybody else to fight him except her. They're kind of building up with that. Ultimately, Mando's got the Darksaber, and with Mando having the Darksaber, that gives them some story elements. If it has to be won in combat, since this appears to be a new rule, there's nothing that says that it has to be to the death. So all he has to do is pull out the Darksaber. She could walk over, punch him. He could throw the fight, flip down, pull a LeBron, and then wow.
Well, what do you think happened with Moff though? Moff didn't lose that fight. He gave up that fight. I'm confident he gave up that fight. He's playing something bigger. He's too smart for this. Like,
well, he was too smart for that until everything went awry.
The only part where I saw him shocked and stuff like that was, that's the only thing that I think really had him shook. Everything else, he still had that cocky to me. Like, he was still like, he playing his cards.
He called it when he was like, the fact that he was in the room with the child and not on the bridge, and called out their entire plan and said everything as it was. And it was one of those moments where it's like, it's so funny because it's, Giancarlo Esposito is just such a fantastic actor. I had that exact same moment from The Boys when he's talking to Billy Butcher, and Billy Butcher is like, I can tell you where the kid is. And you can see him like, okay, so what's in it for me? And all you want is this. When he was having that conversation with Mando, and Mando's like, I just want the child. He's like, all you want is the child? And you'll leave. You get off my ship and everything. Okay, take him. I was thinking to myself, I was like, this dude always got like the simplest solution.
He's got contingency plans for every little minutia detail.
But the thing is, it's like he's such a well-versed and pre-planned businessman. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can negotiate, give me something that makes it worth my while. You can't have this. I'm keeping this. You can take the child. Get off my ship. We're good.
Simple plan.
Then, of course, as soon as he goes to get the child, he turns and it's like, boom, boom, boom. So, that right there tells me something. That brought up another, just a little minor point. I'm gonna make a note about that because, of course, the Darksaber versus Beskar.
All lightsabers versus Beskar, but yeah. My other point was, of course, the big reveal we've all been waiting for. X-wing pulls in. All you see is a hood, and then literally all I saw was green lightsaber. I'm like, Ezra, finally, this is gonna be a respect thread for him. And then mowing through, and then the black gloved hand shows up. I literally screamed at my television, "Oh fuck! This is another goddamn Skywalker episode. Here we fucking go." Mandalorian, which has been praised for how original it is and how little it piggybacked on everything pertaining to Star Wars, and the originals, literally just did the easiest fucking cop-out ever. Fuck Luke. Why the hell is he in there? You have so many original characters that you could easily pull out, and Dave Filoni and Favreau have been lauded for how outside the box they've been. Went with the safest fucking choice in the history of television. Everyone is, fanboying because it's a hallway scene, just like his daddy Vader. I don't give a fuck. This was lazy ass writing. And if you follow the story and say you never see Luke again, literally Grogu dies because Kylo Ren kills him. The very place that Luke would have taken him to train, Kylo Ren massacres everybody. There you go. Goodbye, Grogu. Lazy ass writing. That's the same exact temple.
Okay, so
if we don't see anything else pertaining to the right now, I absolutely abhor the fact that they literally picked Luke Skywalker, did the face of Mark Hamill, and look, I love me Mark Hamill and everything he's in. The man's old. Let his ass rest. He is way past the prime of doing anything pertaining to Star Wars. Leave him alone. I love Mandalorian and I loved everything about this because, I still love the episode. But those 2 points alone with the Darksaber and Luke Skywalker pissed me off to no end. I wasn't talking about it to anybody. I was like, hey, you see the new episode? Yeah. I saw their fucking fan servicing. The same thing we gave them shit for in the new movies. They literally went back and did that again.
Oh.
So.
I didn't expect this to jump all the way to Luke. I mean, we still skipped over Boba and Ahsoka. There's so many things you skipped over.
I wanted to leave other points for people to talk about because Sam knows I can literally just break it down. Everyone needs to have an adequate turn and chance to talk about.
We are going to. So what I'm doing tonight versus what I normally don't do when we have talks, I am making my notes because I'm going to speak to that point directly. I kind of want to do it right now, but it'll become a back and forth between you and me, and we're not going to do that. There's some other points that we need to hit just as a series because overall, there's a lot.
I love the series. This particular 2 points, those are my gripes.
And I'm with that, and I am tripping. You mean to tell me that nobody actually has a Mandalorian Wikipedia? What is happening here? But
there's a Mando Wikipedia.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, there's Wikipedia, and I don't know if they already have
Wikipedia's on
Mando.
there, but there's a Mando. You type in the TV series, so it'll come up under TV series, and you can the whole thing.
There are several threads being started for Mando that they are a good list of feeds.
It's down the list. I just wanted to have the reference information for the episode by episode, and so on Wikipedia, the Mandalorian, I've got it now. I wanted the episode guide is what I was looking for.
Okay.
And so season 2 episodes, boom. Now I've got the list in front of me and we can kind of go boom, 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 boom. Because there's a couple of things that really need to stand out.
Be properly addressed. Yeah.
Right. There's a couple of things that really need to stand out. And I want to go back. If we're going to do an episode by episode review, Will, you good with that?
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Okay. Brent, I know.
All right. I'm always good for Star Wars talk.
Okay. So let's start Chapter 9, The Marshal. Timothy Oliphant as the Marshal wearing Boba Fett's armor. At the beginning, that was the intro to Season 2. And on the one hand, we had seen just some off images, but didn't have anything to make of it. And it wasn't until I went back and kind of like I've started being a little bit more mindful of reading the credits to see who's there and whatnot. And when you see Tamara Morrison's name in the credits from season 1, that's the clear indication of who's who. It did not resonate with me right away. I knew the name, but it didn't put it together that he was Jango Fett, who was the model for the clones. Ergo, he would be an adult version of Boba. I hadn't put that together at the time. Hadn't put that together. We start off with the Marshal, chapter 9. It all clicked right away. And so we see Timothy Olyphant do an actually surprisingly good job. I just like his character. He does so good with that Western kind of vibe.
I mean, he looks like the Wish version of Boba Fett. It was still a very good portrayal. But pertaining to that character.
It's funny you say that because the moment I saw him on screen in that armor, I was like, that ain't Boba. I don't care if he's been in the Sarlacc pit for the last 5 years. That ain't Boba. I don't know what they're doing here, but that ain't Boba Fett. And sure enough, you go through a little bit. And then, of course, like seconds after that, all we see is another Mandalorian. That's initially all we get because we see the armor. We see it's Boba Fett's armor on top of that. And then he goes and he sits down and that helmet comes off. Boom, it hits the table. And I was like, oh, he's not a Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like they've ingrained in me now that you can't take the helmet off, completely forgetting that I've seen all these Mandalorians from Rebels with no helmet. And now I'm thinking like, you can't take your helmet off. So I'm really glad, and we'll get to that episode, but I'm really glad that they addressed that in that episode. And that's where Bo-Katan and she's like, you're not the real Mandalorian, the separatists, or the what does she call it? Basically, she was like a small faction.
Foundlings.
Not the foundlings. She was like saying basically it was a small faction of Mandalorians who broke off and were extremists, and they were the ones who were like, you can't take your helmet off. But as a Mandalorian, you can take your helmet off. And we'll get into that too. So chapter 9, the Marshal, that also, the other reason that episode is so important is because they talk about the Krayt Dragon, they talk about the Sarlacc, and they talk about how a Krayt Dragon could eat a Sarlacc. And as a result, they start planting the seeds for Boba. They show his armor. They talk about the Sarlacc pit. And the only and I needed a little bit more, but they present this Beskar armor as though it is like second skin, which sometimes does a disservice to it because they kind of want to present it as though if Mando had a complete set of Beskar, or not Mando, but if Boba had a complete set of Beskar armor and he fell into the Sarlacc pit, that he could have survived because of that. But when you look, it's like a chest piece, 2 pauldrons, a helmet, some greaves, and some shin guards, and some thigh pieces.
There would be some openings.
Would be a ton of openings. So it's not just inherently he's going to survive because he has on the armor. You have to have some damn good aim, which we know Stormtroopers ain't got. So he would be fine in that regard. But a Mandalorian going up against, like, if Boba and Mando were to get into it one-on-one, somebody getting hurt. Hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone's going to concede easily.
So, but I did like that. The Marshal also gave us the Sand People have their own sign language, which was a nice nod. There was some good little reading material you can find regarding that. Somebody suggested that they incorporate American Sign Language into the Sand People, and that actually ended up being added as a result. So that was one of those, like,
It was a nice humanizing touch for a race of people that, for all intents and purposes, we thought were just complete savages.
Bingo. And that's what I'm trying to. Thank you. You verbalized exactly what I was stumbling over. But yeah, that was actually a nice little touch. Other than that, for the Marshal, you know, we saw another side quest, another creature of the week, and at the end of the episode, Mando leaves with the other Mandalorian armor. He's like, "You're not Mandalorian. You can't have that armor." And it seemed like either that armor was going with him one way or the other.
He was gonna burn it off you, or he was just gonna, burn it off you, or kill you. Like, by the way, he's gonna kill you. Take it. It's like, do you do it peacefully or not?
Yeah, I mean,
coming with me.
I mean, he did play RoboCop,
right? I was like a full RoboCop moment. Dead or alive, it's coming with me. You know,
but he played RoboCop too, the Oliphant. So it's like it all comes full circle for him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the episode, you see Boba was watching like everything take place, which lets you know like that crate dragon could have been the one that ate the Sarlacc, the freaking whatever. Like, I don't know.
Released him for whatever, all intents and purposes, because they didn't give you a specific reason for how he got out. In the extended universe, they say how he got out, but as that's not canon, there's nothing we have concrete to go off of. It's just inferences.
Yeah. So I think it's just more or less a reference to stuff like that, because again, the time period as to how long he was there or like how long it was dealt with. But he's scarred up, he's fucked up and stuff. So he took some hits and stuff like that in the process, I'm sure. But now he's out there standing and watching everything go down. So
that again was one of those things like in since we just bringing up Boba again, at the end of that episode, yes, they do show that was an end credit scene, which I appreciate TV shows having end credit scenes. Like, that's how you do it right there. Like, you got me all in with this.
Disney knows what they're doing with the end credit scenes, right?
You something, man. You got me all in with this. So I was like, hell yeah. But if you remember back, season 1, chapter 5, Fennec Shand. Mm-hmm. She's in the desert, and we see that same person
standing over her.
And that's why I say, like, I had to go back later and re-review, and I saw in the credits, he's actually credited there. So that was, I feel like that is unofficially an Easter egg in my mind by them putting him in the credits, because they didn't show his face. He didn't have a speaking line.
And he didn't even have his armor that you would traditionally associate with him. So it's like, it's all educated inference.
You had to be paying attention.
There was absolutely no reason to even list him in the credits. They could have just shown him and left it at that, and it would have had the same effect. But the fact that they put his name in the credits, I believe, was an Easter egg on their part, hinting towards what was coming. So
it was a beautiful slow play, though, I will say.
I mean, the slow burn.
Like, it paid off. Yeah.
It was a beautiful flame at the end. So that is
that's episode 1 of season 2.
Yeah.
We don't need to beat a dead horse on episode 2.
Chapter 9. So we're moving on. Chapter 10, The Passenger.
We can skip that.
Nothing important happened. Just if you have arachnophobia, skip the episode. You don't miss anything of the story.
You know what? I do want to add one more thing. For half a second, I thought they were going to do face huggers.
Yeah.
I literally thought those were going to be face huggers because of the way the little egg thing opened up. And given that we've just seen him, like, gobbling up these eggs the entire time, and then he just kind of goes walking off. He sees this other egg, and I just knew it was going to be a face hugger. And the fact that it was a spider, and it was okay. So yeah, that was chapter 10. We've pretty much covered anything for The Passenger. Chapter 11. The Heiress.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was such a good episode. What a great rebound from episode 2.
So, The Heiress has just a lot of stuff that we like.
It has Sasha Banks. It has Bo-Katan. I mean, like...
First of all, let me give credit. I don't know what his name was, but it had 3 badass Mandalorians outside of Mando.
Yeah, the dude has a name, but it escapes me at this time because obviously he wasn't important enough to make the finale. So
straight up 3 badass axe woes. Axe woes.
Okay.
Because you got Bo-Katan, Koska, an axe. See, that's why we have the wiki up. Because I'm not gonna act like I just knew that shit. I had no clue.
It's like I don't even know Sasha Banks' character's name.
I just
I'm
knew
just
there
like,
was
that's
another
just Sasha
dude.
Banks.
There was another dude, and it was Sasha Banks, and it was Bo-Katan. Like, that's it. That's all I know. But no, apparently his name is actually Axwoes, so we will give credit to him. But again, there were 3 badass Mandalorians, and since we've only kind of seen Mando, and well, in season 2 so far, I mean, we're only a couple episodes in, but we've gotten very accustomed to just seeing Mando. After he left the underground in the first one, we're not really expecting to see any more Mandalorians, and all he's saying is like, I need to find more Mandalorians. I need to find more Mandalorians. So here we come up. Not only do we have more Mandalorians, we got 3 of them, and they're like badass. They're kicking ass. So that was
They kick ass, take names, and then you're just like, okay, cool. They're gonna keep their mask on. They're just.
And again, another one of those moments where it's like, you're not Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
And then you remember, oh, Bo-Katan, and then Mando's like, you're not really Mandalorian. She's like, bitch, I'm from the planet. I am the princess. I am the OG. You're nothing.
That was one of those moments where she was like, I'm not Mandalorian. Bitch, you a foundling. You not Mandalorian, if anything. Like, and that was one of those moments, and I really enjoyed everything about that episode.
The fact that they stayed true to the character, they brought the person that they actually used for the model of the character, who voiced it, like, and brought her all the way forward.
She's the voice actress, and now the live action.
She did such a good job in everything. I love that actress. Phenomenal job.
One other thing, and this is kind of small. Brent, this was the episode we were talking about, and I was like, this was when I made the incorrect inquisition. I inquired about the guy from Rogue One, because
are you talking about the guy who was Director Krennic? The guy who was like actually talking to Vader, and Vader was kind of listening,
right?
Ish.
So Director Krennic, for some reason, it's one of those things, and Jeff called me out on this, and I felt some kind of way about it. But it was like,
Jeff's good at that.
Yeah, he that's why I keep him around, because he fucks with me constantly. But you know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where it was like, okay, here's an important guy, and the actor Titus Welliver, who is known on, I mean, he's probably one of his biggest roles is probably Bosch on Amazon. Is that Amazon Prime or is that Hulu?
One of those streaming services.
So just seeing, he was big in Lost. People know him from Sons of Anarchy also, and Bosch. I know that's I don't know where Bosch is played, but that's the show he's mostly known for. But he's one of those people that has a very distinctive look, and the fact that he stood out so much, I was just trying to put it together, and you can tell that he was somebody who was more important, and now he's not, because he's just an Imperial captain. He even says as much in the episode and whatnot. And I was like, oh, is that him? But then it's like, oh wait, no, that dude's dead.
Yeah, Director Krennic's been dead for a minute. Like, he went up.
And that was the thing. It was like, when you start kind of looking at the timeline, it's like, okay, wait, no, because Rogue One was before.
Yeah,
so
before anything even happened. So you're just like,
and so of course
you'd be old as shit now.
Right. And I was just having one of those moments. So, but it was like, that was the episode that kind of stood out, and the fact that my man committed suicide before he gave up any information. And it was at that time that Bo-Katan is asking about the Darksaber, and she's asking about Moff Gideon, and you know, that correlation. Because the moment you see, like, since they've already kind of hinted, well, I mean, they've not hinted, they've straight up shown the Darksaber. And most people who watched the series knew what that was. For those who didn't know what it was, this was the episode that kind of broke it down and explained and brought them up to speed so that they would know what was what. Yeah, there was that whole moment of taking off the helmets. And then that whole, like, I'll do you a favor, but first you have to do this for me.
Side quest.
Again, just like another fucking side quest, you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was kind of funny that Bo-Katan, like, the way she said, "This is the way," was like...
Condescending almost.
I mean, no, it was completely condescending because, of course, they have that whole conversation where she's basically saying that, like, you're the fake Mandalorian. I'm a real Mandalorian because I am from Mandalore, whereas you're part of one of the zealot community. Zealot, that's the word. You're one of the zealot communities. When I was saying extremists, I couldn't remember, but zealot. She's like, you're one of the zealots. This whole you can't take your helmet off.
It's like, who made up that crap? We have to do things without our helmets sometimes. I mean, like, it's a silly rule to make.
And she's like, it's stupid, okay? It's a helmet. You can take it off.
It's like, you're not always constantly fighting something. Just
Mandalorian, no helmet. Mandalorian with helmet. No helmet.
We got to make more Mandalorians, but you got to keep your helmet on.
You know? So, I mean, I thought that was definitely one of those things. And that was also like, I got to give Pedro Pascal a little bit of credit in that his body language...
It's very easy to read considering his body is completely covered in armor.
Right. Like, I can always kind of picture his expression. I almost feel like his mask should be like a Daft Punk mask, and it should just digitally
show
emote.
the expression.
Right. Like, it should just digitally emote because I feel like I can read his expression. When she takes off her helmet and she's like speaking to him condescendingly, like just the way his head kind of like tilts and moves, and he just kind of looks away. You could see right then he's like, have I been lied to this whole time? Like, I could take my helmet off? Like, it's really?
It's like, I've been eating uncomfortably for years for no damn reason.
So if she's really from Mandalore and she's a Mandalorian princess and she says that we could take our helmet off, that means I could actually do that. It's so expressive. And I really felt like, based on season end, I feel like that was the planting of the seeds for the helmet.
Because, I mean, there are a couple episodes that we'll get to where that pertain directly to that point.
And we're heading there. So that's chapter 11. That's the heiress. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, pretty cut and dry and stuff like that. I mean,
it was nice seeing a new planet at least, because I mean,
true.
It's the galaxy far, far away, and basically, Tatooine, Coruscant, and then wherever they have the big ass battles.
Small little tiny itty bitty side note that's just like for me personally, because I always like the little trivia stuff. Can you believe that I did not know that Bryce Dallas Howard was Ron Howard's daughter?
What?
I did not know.
They were hyping that when they chose her.
That's how I found out that that's Ron Howard's daughter.
She did almost shot for shot from one of her dad's movies in that episode.
Which is why it's being brought up now. That's my entire point. What I'm saying though is that Bryce Dallas Howard, as an actress, I knew her as an actress. I remembered her from the Jurassic Park. I remembered her from Black Mirror. Ron Howard's daughter. I just thought she was a redhead named Bryce Dallas Howard.
Go sit in the corner.
Mando's sending you to the corner, Mace Windu. Sorry.
All right.
You on the sidelines.
So moving on to chapter 12, episode 4 in season 2. This was actually directed by Carl Weathers.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's part of his contract. You say I want to direct an episode, I think. So.
And kudos to him.
And he made Gene Guy. The internet fucking loved that. It's like, Gene Guy. They made an action figure of Gene Guy. They're including it in Star Wars The Black Series for those who collect stuff.
Oh,
he's going to be one of those characters.
Fantastic.
So. Like, Disney literally took it in stride. They're like, oh, cool. Well, I guess Gene Guy's a character now, so
I went back and found him myself.
Yeah. Before they re-edited afterwards to remove said character. So, but yeah, Carl Weathers. What an episode, Will, as you were lost.
Remember I was saying
in your...
that I don't think that's the right remote. Just reach under, hit the power button to the left side.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a good episode. So with that, I mean, everything is kind of bringing everything back around, so we get to see more Cara Dune. So with that, you got freaking
Mama Dune.
And freaking which I used to watch
Oh,
her
fight
back in her
big
UFC
ass.
days. So that
Yeah.
yo,
Beautiful in her UFC days. She was beautiful in Deadpool. She's beautiful now.
Let
Like,
me just say, I will
look,
fight her big ass. Like, oof.
she can crush your head with her
I
thighs,
don't
and
care.
nobody would complain.
I put it on my,
like a pimple.
just like the boys. Just like the
Like a
boys.
pimple. It's all good.
Like-
Make it happen.
Like, that's on my Christmas list. I mean,
Cara Dune, hey.
just kidding. She's better than that. She deserves all the respect. I do apologize for my behavior.
I
She's
don't.
beautiful.
You are beautiful. You're a great actress. All that side stuff, that's your personal life. I love what you do on film.
Yeah.
Now, The Siege. Yeah, man. Like this one.
I love the little Easter egg they had, though, pertaining to all the stuff they had going all the way back to the Clone Wars with the little shoulder insignia patch. Like, it's like Filoni and Favreau literally looked all the way back to the prequels, no less. Saw that that little insignia, and was like, all right, we're gonna put that. That was also here.
They did the
also
research,
there, and they just kept adding on to it. And you're just, damn. Like, I know we always give them credit, but they really deep dive for a lot of their stuff, which is why I was so disappointed that they went with Luke. It's like they set the bar so ungodly high. I have to complain about the most minuscule little things now.
But see, and the funny thing is, I will give you an entirely different take on that.
We'll get to that.
I'm waiting. I'm not engaging. He keeps.
Sorry.
I'm not engaging.
Yeah.
I'll take myself to the corner.
This episode was pretty, having to invade the base and stuff like that, and destroy that base and all the stuff in the process. Bringing Karga in, so with that, the little alien thing, bringing him back.
Yes.
From the very first episode.
No. Karga is
Cargo's Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
I'm saying bringing him back in and actually having him do stuff. Because when I first watched The Mandalorian, I wasn't sure if he's going to be relegated to he's just giving out the bounties and stuff like that. He's not doing much. Then he did a couple in the first season stuff, but he actually got his character is still actively participating and doing stuff. And I like that because I don't want to see him just kind of sit on the sidelines. I've seen too much of that in a few other shows with that where, you had this important character, but he's not doing anything. Like he's actually backing it up and getting in the fight, and I'm having fun with it. Like I like the fact that even, he directed the episode, he put himself in, he's doing stuff, he's having fun and stuff like that. So that's the good part about Karga, just having him be part of the series and not just a sideline character. And that's, again, the same thing with Dune and stuff like that. Like I didn't expect to see Dune much more. Like kind of she was in the episode, maybe that's it, so like that. But no, she's proven to be an integral part of the series, so that, and she keeps showing up when needed. Like she's not only just a token character, so to speak. Like she's actually a big part of the team, the overall team that's being built. And so that I feel like the team is being built as time goes on, and eventually season 5 or some shit, we're gonna get this big ass fucking battle or some shit, and we're gonna have Dune, Karga, Mandalorian, freaking Ahsoka. So like everything is just gonna like come to a head at some point, and I'm excited. So
now,
it's fun.
You go ahead.
I really liked bringing back the one little alien guy.
From the very first episode, that was the first bounty. Yeah, I don't know his name.
Is that Karga, the alien? Like who the fuck his name is? So that you gotta look it up.
I think it's Mithril. Because that actor is Horatio Sands. That's the only reason it even stands out. But
is it? I didn't know that. I
didn't know that either.
Right.
So, that's a nice touch.
And so it's like that kind of be the only reason. But I liked his character, and he brings that. And this is going to sound kind of crazy, but stay with me here. He brings that element of reality into what would otherwise just be a fanatical situation. You have a single Mandalorian. You have Cara Dune. You have Grief Karga. These 3 people are going to take down this entire facility, and none of them even show the slightest concern that it's going to be a problem. Meanwhile, you got him over here as the voice of reason, like,
you doing?
Do you see what's happening here? And I feel like characters like that, they come off as comedy relief, but they keep you invested in
Grounded.
the story. Right. They keep you a part of what's happening because they're the only one that says, like, we're going to die. This can't be done. And yet we're watching a show where we know Mando's going to, we know Mando's going to make it out by the end of the episode, and but for that moment, you have that character who reminds you and brings that element of danger and fear and concern. And those characters are just as important. And I think his character, more so than any of the others, really stood out to me to remind me everybody in this place ain't invincible. Some people can get hurt. And he brought a nice little touch of humor with it. It was unintentional humor, it was deadpan, but it was, I really liked having his character in this episode.
And then, like, pertaining to Carl Weathers, it was nice having such a well-established actor stick on with Star Wars and finally some level of representation in the galaxy far, far away is being accurately and well cast. Crazy how that works when you have good actors and you keep using them. Star Wars. Looking at you.
Let's see. We could almost I think we on two hands now. I think
it still needs to be way more, but we can all agree
we're on
that
the second hand now. But that's again, that is a big deal, and to have these people who are doing such a great job, I do like Carl Weathers as this character. I like having him in there. Because when when they come back and he sees the child, he's just so excited. When
he's like the happy uncle. He's like, "Oh, give me the baby. I'm gonna go play with the baby."
bruh. A couple episodes ago, you was trying to sell this kid. Now you just so happy to see him. Man,
loving uncle, all
but it's like that. Just also goes to show you that people can be redeemed, and what I'm saying, there's good in everyone. And so that was a good episode. I enjoyed that episode. That was chapter 12. That was the siege. The siege.
What's next?
So after the siege was
your girl Rosario Dawson.
So we got some more good casting going on.
Yeah.
Let me
I'm not sure if she technically counts as representation.
Let me go all the way back. Regardless of the voice actress who has done, and I understand that there was a whole campaign for the voice actress to do the live action. And if they had done that, I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah.
Let me just throw that out there. I would not have been mad. But let me also say this.
Rosario killed it.
Before we even get to that part. Just that race of character. Twi'leks.
Mostly used as strippers throughout 90% of Star Wars lore. Till we got our girl.
Now, here's a very interesting point. And I don't think the two are related, although I agree with you, because when we see in Jabba's palace, the entertainment is a Twi'lek. Just about every time we've seen a Twi'lek, it's always been
entertainment purposes,
entertainment.
Not anything, major.
If you go back to Return of the Jedi, the actress who played that Twi'lek, she was black.
I did not know that. Because I knew Boba Fett was like a nerdy ass white guy because he unfortunately
just about every time I'd seen a Twi'lek, something about that character always kind of said to me that they had some ethnicity behind them. And when I got to see Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, that worked so well. I don't believe you could have cast anybody else and it would have worked.
It's her and the voice actress that does Clone Wars and Rebels. Otherwise,
right. You know what?
Why bother?
That went the same way. That went. Mark Hamill is the voice actor for Joker, and Heath Ledger is the live action for Joker.
Yeah, it's like can you carry on, and even though you got skills for that, like can you carry the physical presence of the character, in the same capacity that you do the verbal. Like if you got the voice actor for Vegeta, can he play the live action and stuff like that? You want to make sure that you're able to transcend both. You can do the voice all day, so you can hit the inflections, like you would speak the character into existence perfectly. But the voice actress who did freaking Ahsoka, can she carry it so that, or was Rosario the better choice and stuff?
Oh no, and it definitely makes a difference. Um, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Stand by. We are
But
going to.
she was
One
able
moment.
to.
One moment. We were experiencing technical difficulties for just a moment.
I was gonna say you screen flopped and you were frozen for a good minute there.
Okay, and we are back.
We good?
Yeah, last thing you said, last thing that I know you said on screen was you were talking about Vegeta and whether or not if the person who does the voice for Vegeta, he could do the voice all day, but could he bring that presence to life?
Yeah, so it's the same thing, and that's what I say. Give her respect because the voice actress who voiced the character and stuff like that, she actually she's and I want to give her credit. She's the first person to bring the character to life. That's not on page, so like she actually brings the character to life and stuff like that. And Rosario did a great job just carrying on that tradition. It's like anybody who played Joker, you know, after like what you said with the Joker reference, so that Mark Hamill's been doing Joker, but then oh boy, and
Heath
who
Ledger.
did it in the Red Hood? No, the one who did it in the Red Hood. So like that.
Oh,
Uh, he
oh, Dave Maggiano.
yeah, he did
Not
it so that
Dave, but Maggiano.
again it was still a great job done and stuff like that. It's just like you carry that torch and you continue to do well. The bar was set freaking with the voice actors with that, and then the bar was carried with Rosario. I think it all flows well, and all of
That
them
was
should
a
get
true
credit for it.
passing of a baton kind of thing. They were in the same race, and it was just like boom, boom, and they just kept it moving, and they did fantastic. I
Yeah,
think
because I
what
mean, even down to like even how Rosario portrayed body movements, how she held the saber, how she was moving, everything was literally how Ahsoka would have done it directly straight from the animation. So hats off to Rosario. That's all I have to say. She did a phenomenal job. I was so happy.
now here's why that worked out so well. That episode was directed by Dave Filoni,
Mm-hmm.
who created Ashoka Tano. When his work on Clone Wars, when he created that character, that's one of those scenarios where the director knows the character because it's his creation. So he was able to direct her in a way. And it's one of those things where at one point in the fight she's going like when she has the two lightsabers, she's fighting normal and they're just like they're on top. Boom,
That's
boom,
the
boom, 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 boom. And when she loses that one, she's like, okay, you know what? I'm through playing with you. And it's just like that moment.
it's a kill shot. It's a kill shot.
Like, let me tell you something. First of all, at the end of the siege, when they are talking about, actually, no, at the end of Eris, when Bo Katan says,
Find Ahsoka Tano.
go find Ahsoka Tano, like, I got excited then. I was like, because that told me then that they were actually going to bring her in. It was going to be live action because, of course, you see stuff online and you see like, oh yeah, well she's been signed on. We've, it looks like it appears. We hear blah 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 blah. Okay, then we got to go through a whole episode where there's no Ahsoka Tano, and I'm like, why are they here when they should be getting to her? What does this episode got to do with anything? Okay, well that seems pretty relevant. That's fair. And then we get to the episode titled. First of all, it's titled "The Jedi." Okay, you know what? Right there, I'm already excited and giddy because to me, Star Wars is lightsabers. It's lightsabers and force powers. That is my Star Wars. That's not everybody's Star Wars, but that is my personal Star Wars. Remember, I said that. Okay. Looking at you,
it's
Brent.
not forgotten. I got excited.
What? You think I'm gonna start arguing already?
No, when she brought up long sword, short sword, I was happy. Like I was happy that they made sure that they did the research and they looked at everything.
I mean, and
it
then
wasn't. It's
Filoni
his
did
character.
such
It
a
wasn't
good
needed.
live action like fighting. You wouldn't
Right.
think a director went from animated to live action would be able to carry over nearly as well as he did, let alone pay homages the way he did to certain movies throughout. And he was just like, "Oh yeah, I just pulled this out of my hat. Here you go. Hope you like it."
Funny you say that, because we're about to talk about that on the next episode. But let's finish this episode real quick. A couple other things I want to point out. The guy from Terminator, Michael Biehn, he's in this episode. So just a great sci-fi callback right there, and glad he's getting work. Ashoka Tano's in this episode. We didn't
The
tell
name
you
of the child comes up, Grogu.
the name of the child. We see the whole Force connection. We find out that he's actually had training. We get so much information, like so much came out of this episode. It was such a pivotal moment. This would have been like, okay, so there were 8 episodes. This is episode 5. This is essentially
The can't miss episode.
not even the can't miss episode. Like most times when you have like, granted, we've been going week, but in a regular TV series, you would have like the series premiere when the series first comes on. You would have the mid-series finale. They would take a break, and then you would have the series premiere for the second part of that season. That's what this episode was. It was such an important episode. That's why Dave Filoni himself came in to direct this episode and do what he needed to do. Now, Jon Favreau's directed most of them. Actually, take that back. Jon Favreau has written most of these. He's directed a handful. But for the most part, all he's done is written them. This one was written and directed by Dave Filoni because it is like just so important.
And there are so many callbacks to all of his old work throughout the episode. You're like, you even got a loft cat in there, and you're just like, okay, I see what
We
you're
got
doing.
a loft cat, and you know what? This was one of those things where it's like I had to go back and like rewatch the episode just to like really refresh because I knew what they were talking about, but I didn't know what they were talking about. So I like to watch the Easter egg videos and things like that on YouTube and see like anything I might. Here's 10 things you missed in the Jedi episode.
I was gonna say, Grown Up Geeks YouTube history has been popping up with Easter eggs like immediately after the episode from the host. So I was like, that's not me.
I be trying to know, man. I want to know what's what. I have to see it. But apparently, like the owl, which is essentially the spirit animal for Ashoka Tano, because for those of you, again, like you've already got the spoiler warning, so I'm not even trying to give you a spoiler warning on this. But she's died and she's been resurrected, and as part of her resurrection, the life force and the person who gave their life force to resurrect her had a pet, and the pet was an owl, and so there apparently is an owl in a couple of scenes in that episode. So go back and check for that because it's there. That's kind of a big deal.
That was a great episode of the Clone Wars too. So I mean,
right. And
you're not, yeah.
It's Clone Wars, Rebels. You should watch them if you haven't. They're good.
It's animated. It looks like a kid style show, but the writing's phenomenal throughout.
It is so not a kid show. Do not get that twisted. Let's see. There was something else with the Jedi. We got that. Oh. So the conversation that Rosario Dawson, Ashoka Tano is coming to take this particular village back. This village has been captured by this lady, whoever she is.
The magistrate?
The magistrate, thank you. So the magistrate that is there has decided she will be the magistrate, and they've actually taken someone out of power. But the magistrate used to work for someone who holds a little bit of importance. Her boss. Brent, who is her boss? Who is it that she's looking for?
The magistrate or
Not the
Oh,
magistrate.
Ahsoka.
Who did the magistrate work for that Ashoka was looking for?
Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Put respect on his name.
Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is all Star Wars Rebels right here. And for those like, so Ashoka Tano is a big deal in the Clone
The
Wars.
very last season of Rebels and the last season Clone Wars especially.
So she's in Clone Wars pretty much throughout because she gets assigned as Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. She's Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. Yoda paired her with him basically to give him a taste of his own medicine and have to deal with someone much like he was. As a result, he probably learned and gained a little something from that, and it is what it is. Now, she has a major role through most of Clone Wars. You get to the end of Clone Wars, you get a little bit more about her, and you find out the whole she's not a Jedi bit, and that's actually pretty relevant. Because that does kind of speak to this part where she's like, I can't train him. He needs to be trained by a Jedi. And of course, people who are watching this like to call it the Jedi, but she's actually not a Jedi. And so
he left the order.
Right. So it's like when the title was when the episode was titled The Jedi, it kind of made me wonder, but then I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm good with it. I don't care. I know what they meant. But technically, she's not a Jedi. And she even goes as far as to say that she's not a Jedi and explain that she can't be the one to train him. And I'm thinking when she talks about, okay, so this is the episode where we get the child's name and we have just so much good stuff is happening. We get a little bit more backstory on Grogu. We find out
where he's been, what he's done,
right.
What his relevance is.
We get a little bit there. Then, of course, you have the other side story that is another callback, and that's why it was so important that Dave Filoni was the one that was directing this and wrote this, because it's another callback, and this comes from Rebels, where you need to watch Rebels because we're about to talk about it. We don't know where Ezra is at the end of Rebels.
Because Ezra and Thrawn both disappear, and that's it. That's where they leave you. There's no other information given. There's nothing to infer. It is just...
And to clarify, it's not that they disappear. Ezra specifically uses the Force to call space whales, just stay with me, to call space whales to light speed transport them out of where they are. It's one of those sacrifice plays, but we don't know what happens.
Because they went outside, the known galaxy? Or the...
Right.
Even the outer rim.
The outer rim. They were already at the outer rim, and they light speed from there. So we don't know where they are. And your boy Ezra has done some shit. So, maybe he knew what was going to happen, because maybe he already saw it. But you got to watch Rebels to understand what I'm talking about there. Anyway.
It's all on Disney Plus.
There you go. See, so no excuse. If you've been watching Mandalorian, you can watch these other shows.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's a big deal, though, because at the end of Rebels, Ashoka Tano and Sabine, is it?
Sabine Wren, yep.
They are
trying to find what happened.
To try to find Ezra. So when she says, "Where's Admiral Thrawn?"
You assume that's part of her mission.
It would be expected that if she thinks Thrawn is alive because this person works for Thrawn, again, you got to stay with the timeline. Given the timeline of Rebels versus the timeline of The Mandalorian, and the fact that she is under the impression that Thrawn is alive despite knowing that Thrawn and Ezra are gone, that would imply that this is after that event took place. Thrawn would now have been established as being alive after that. So the assumption, of course, for her would be that Ezra is alive. That was one of the things Brent's talking about. We're going to touch on that before this is done. But that was one of those moments because there's a possibility that Ezra, one of the Jedis who was he was a Padawan and eventually learned a little bit more and was a Padawan of
Kanan Jarrus.
Kanan Jarrus, and that's all rebels. So there's potential there for something that can happen. Ahsoka Tano tells Mando, Grogu is strong with the Force. Take him to this planet. Put him on this rock. Let him call out through the Force to get someone to help him. I can't help him. I can't train him. He's too attached to you, and I've already seen what that does to a person. Quick shout out right there. We had a meme shared in group, and this meme really touched me. I felt this meme. It was so special. There's a picture of an older Grogu. Whatever species, we're going to call them Dagobahs, just because that's the only place I've ever known these species to exist outside of.
Yeah, it's just because Yoda chose to hide out. It wasn't like even it was his whole planet. We don't even know. It's just like he chose there.
He's a Yodan. Okay, so we see an older Yodan, which is obviously meant to be Grogu. And this meme didn't exist until after this episode. Basically, Grogu has developed a bond with Mando. He's seen, he saved Mando's life a couple of times. He's seen Mando go through the shit for him. Basically a father-like figure in his life. And the meme actually shows an older Grogu sitting there with his Jedi clothing and robe and whatnot, and he's got the pauldron on. He's got the one little shoulder piece, and it's got the big horn stamped on it and whatnot. So it's the one from Mando, no question that part. And basically somebody is talking to Grogu, and they're like, Master Grogu, apparently it's something to the effect of Jedis aren't supposed to have attachments. And Grogu is like, it's not that Jedis can't have attachment, it's fear of losing these attachments that's a problem. They're like, well, what's the point of having an attachment if you're afraid of losing them? He's like, well, fear of losing that attachment leads to the dark side. So you mean to tell me that we just have to always expect that people will die? And he's like, well, this, death is a part of life. It's a natural order of things. It's a part of life. And the student is like, oh, I don't know if I can ever accept something accepting that all the people you love are going to die seems like it's going to be too hard. That's impossible. And Grogu says,
this is the way.
This is not impossible. This is the way. This is it just gets in your feels, you know what I'm saying? And it was just it was a really, really touching thing. But it only came about as a result of the episode The Jedi. We see a lot of information come out in that episode. That episode unpacked so much, and it was such a damn good episode.
And we didn't even talk about the fact that Bruce Lee's goddaughter was the magistrate. So it wasn't just some random ass chick they decided to pull up. It's like, no, that's Bruce Lee's goddaughter. She is well trained and well versed in many, many fighting styles. So it's not like Ahsoka was, sucking or having a hard time. She was facing that chick. So yeah, that was a nice little touch.
That was a fantastic episode. But I don't want to get stuck on that one episode, because coming up right after that was another amazing episode. This episode, called The Tragedy, was actually directed by Robert Rodriguez. Let me tell you why that's relevant and why anybody should care. Have you ever seen the movie Desperado? Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Mexico? There is this guy by the name of Robert Rodriguez who can take $10 and give you a $10,000 scene off that $10. You talk about low budget action. This man knows how to run a camera and put some action on screen.
The whole episode, from literally after 10 minutes on, it's the shortest episode of the season, but you had more action in that episode than you had throughout the whole damn thing.
Yo.
They get to this planet,
Tython.
Right, it's worth mentioning. They get to
because
the
it's
planet Titan.
included in Rebels, so it's not like it's random ass.
Grogu gets set on the stone. Mando's trying to figure out how to activate the Seeing Stone. He can't figure out what's going on, and then you look over in the sky, and there's this ship.
You know that ship.
You've seen
Is
it's a
that
vertically
the
flying
Slave
ship.
One?
You're
Wait a minute. Am I looking at the Slave One right now? I am looking at the Slave One. The moment you see that ship, iconic. You know that was just as powerful as seeing the damn Millennium Falcon come on screen.
It was one of those perfect
that
callbacks.
ship.
Because Slave One was literally in the Clone Wars, so it was in the prequels, and it was in the originals because it was on Bespin when Han got transported over to Tatooine. So it's like, you know this ship. It's not. I mean, it's dated now, but
You know
it's
this
still
ship.
that ship.
And so seeing that ship immediately, you're like, so that's another one of those moments where, like, just from the imagery, you're so excited. So of course, he sees Mando looks away. He sees the ship. He's like, okay, hey kid, we gotta go. He looks back. Grogu's having a whole little tantric moment. He's one with the Force, and the Force is one with him. And there is this major beam of Force energy shooting off the Seeing Stone, headed up into the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like, and all I could think for a second was, I'm trying to remember who made the joke, but it was like, it was a DC joke, basically, because why do you have this one big tower of energy shooting up in the sky? So if you go to like Man of Steel, if you go to Suicide Squad, it's like, why is there always just that big beam of energy shooting in the sky? And seeing that and seeing Grogu in it, that's one of those things. There is a major action sequence that takes place because there's a
Tamir Morrison's ready to throw some fucking hands.
First of all, we get a Mexican standoff. We get a three-way standoff because we've got Fennec Shand, we've got Boba Fett, and we've got Mando. And Mando is like, you've got a sniper trained on me? The moment that muzzle flashes, I'll have both of you taken down before a shot gets off. It's just like, damn, bro, really? Like, you that good? So you mean to tell me that you could have a straight sniper already aimed at you and you gonna kill both of them? Come on now.
I thought she was on Baby Yoda. I thought she was on Grogu and
Yoda, but the conversation that's taking place between Mando and Boba Fett, you know what I'm saying? It's like, he's like, I'm gonna take both of y'all out. He's like, oh, you think I gotta aim at you? Nah, I gotta aim at your little green friend. Basically, Boba's like,
checkmate.
All I want is my armor, bro. Just give me my armor. That's all I want. My armor. Take a moment, recap this episode. I need you to go over the chain link. I need you to go over what happens, the Dark Troopers, why it's such an important thing. I will be right back. We'll finish this episode. I'll be back in a second.
I want to give credit to Fennec Shand, Ming Na. Like, yo,
Ming Na Wen.
She is a beast of an actress with that. Look, she is a Disney princess.
Oh yeah.
She is a SHIELD agent.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fucking badass freaking sniper in fucking Star Wars. Like,
yeah, she's a badass bounty hunter. She's a badass agent. She's a Disney princess.
There's nothing that this woman can't do. All right, like, I gotta give her credit where credit is due. This woman is freaking unstoppable. I love her. Like,
Disney has cast her perfectly in everything she's been in for them. I mean, they know exactly when to pull her out.
She's completed the trifecta. Like, again, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars. Like,
it's the same umbrella, but it's beautifully placed, all in a symbiotic relationship all the way through. You're like, she plays the same chick all the way through, and you're just like, I love this woman. Like,
I can't.
You have her on your team. You're like, okay, cool, we're gonna win. I'm not really worried about it.
But like, it sets up so cool because the battle sequences and stuff like, and I love it because she got time to shine. Boba got time to freaking shine. I said Mando did his thing, and his focus wasn't really on fight. We've been seeing him fight through and through, so his focus wasn't on fighting. His focus was on, making sure that Grogu was good and stuff like that. And we got some of that, but it really let them to kind of show that their teamwork and their savagery when it came to taking out these stormtroopers and stuff that showed up during their little standoff
Yeah,
because they're
because
just trying to get
two
stuff done.
platoons showed up. It wasn't just like a platoon showed up. No, they sent out 2 different platoons for 3 people. That is literally how serious they were about acquiring Grogu. Boba Fett is beating the absolute pulp out of people with a staff. He's not even like blasting him. He's like, "Oh, that's a nice armor you have. It'd be a shame if somebody caved it in with a stick."
He's just cracking it. Like it's
I mean, it's
no
a Tusken
contest.
Raider staff, so I mean, it's obviously a important symbol in that that he was accepted by them and their people, and then he just absolutely killing people left and right. Ming-Na Wen is out there, 1 shot, 1 kill, 1 shot, 1 kill, 1 shot, 1 kill.
Flip. I love. There's a turnaround sniper shot where she jumps off. It's like bow bow. And it's like just dropping them and stuff like that as she's falling away.
Yeah, 360, no scope, and just kill shots both times, like heart, chest. I mean, heart, head, done. Just like, oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't put her in that impossible. It doesn't have her just like standing like, no, she's literally in the throes of ducking and running and using cover and stuff like that. Like she's being true to a fighter. It wasn't just like she's just standing there. I can take everything. I'm shooting. Like, no, she's actually in movement. She's in cover. Like it reminded me of certain things like you've seen certain like the movie Shooter and stuff like that, where Mark Wahlberg stuff like that, where he's a good sniper, but again he uses the area to his advantage, and it's the same thing that she's doing. She's using the area, the terrain.
She's moving like literally almost like a military person would, from spot to spot to spot to spot. You can't pinpoint where she is because she is literally moving around with the environment, using it to her advantage, like you were saying, and just taking everybody out left and right. And then they perfectly place Boba where he works slower and slower to the Razor Crest, and then you just have him see him look over. Oh, hey, that's my armor. It's an unguarded ship.
Nobody's worried about the ship. It's like that. They pull a straight army of 2. She's got all the aggro. Nobody's really paying attention. He's out there stealth killing, stormtroopers and stuff with the staff. And I love how during they had the standoff, they had the Mandalorian remove his jetpack, which allows for what happens later on to happen without interruption and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because if he had his jetpack, it wouldn't have happened.
It'd been 1 shot, 1 kill. Because I mean that has been used several times over throughout as like your get out of hell free card. But it's that and the Whistling Birds that are Mando's 2 favorite get out of hell free cards. Yeah, and then next thing you know, you see them working their way towards the child. Shit looks dire. The second platoon is fully infiltrating, regardless of how good our company is doing. And then Boba walks in with his armor and is an army of 1.
Goes to
you
work.
Die, you die, you die, you die, you die. Oh, I'm running out of bullets. Here's missiles coming out of my kneecap. Fuck you. It's like literally, and you could have picked anything. He did it. He even did the whole gun flip, put it back in his holster thing that his daddy did. Like, back in the Clone Wars. So you're just like,
callbacks. Like
Boba is that dude. It finally is the first time we saw why he got the respect he deserved, because everyone's like, he gets 2 lines in Star Wars. Why is everyone so freaking hyped about Boba? This is why.
This is a credit for that, and this is where he really got to shine. So at that, I love even when I was waiting for him to use his rocket. Like that was just like, okay, give it to me. Where's it at? Where's he gonna put it? How's he gonna do it? So at that, so you saw that thing flip down. It's like, here we go, bam. Yep. And then his little line at the end, like, well, I was aiming for the other one. But whatever.
Because it was a nice touch. Because to get to that point that the scene we're talking about, Dark Troopers are sent out from Moff Gideon. Mm-hmm. They are able to collect Baby Yoda because the beacon stops. Baby Yoda Grogu is worn the hell out. He's out of mana for all intents and purposes. He's done. Picked up, taken out. They're leaving. And then the platoon's like, oh, okay, mission accomplished. We aren't making any ground with them anyway. Fuck it. We're out. Both platoons take off in 2 different ships. One is slightly above the other. Your boy Boba, jetpack, all the way through, hits one of them. That one while falling, hits the other one. They both explode. And then Mando's like, "Hey, nice shot, dude." He's like, I actually missed, but
It
that
worked.
worked.
Not bad.
Like, so
No.
that was pretty touching. And then
But-
seeing the Slave One actually like in action, Boba going all the way up, trying to go do recapture the Baby Yoda Grogu, and then come back, and then he's like, "Okay, so you're worried about how I'm Mandalorian, right? And I'm wearing the armor." Presses one button. Next thing you know, whole family tree pops up. He's like, "You see Django? How he was approved as a foundling by the people of Mandalore, and he was totally okay with using the armor? Yeah, I'm his son. I may be a clone, but it's still my daddy."
I am the clone.
Yeah.
I'm not the standard clone. Like I'm not standard issue. Like I
The
was
standard
unaltered.
issue was completely, it's like, yeah, I'm ungenetically altered. I age normally. I don't just, within 5 minutes, I go from trying to figure out English to all of a sudden I'm hitting puberty. Like, I grew up like a regular person. I just have the same exact DNA as my dad. So,
And I think with this episode is the only time, where like every time he's had to leave Grogu to go on a side quest or whatever, so that back in my head I was concerned like, okay, is Grogu gonna be okay? Is it?
There's no babysitter this time.
Yeah, so there's no babysitter this time, so nothing with that, and he gets captured, and now because he's going back to Moff, so that now I've got the actual, like nervousness, so like, okay, like how is this gonna play out? Because they actually have him, bam, he's back to the ship, and so that is like, okay, what's about to happen? How are they gonna get out of this one? So that, and the ship is gone. So now I'm like, okay, we only got X. Like I didn't know because it was speculated whether it was 8 episodes, whether it was 10 episodes. I didn't know how they were going with it. So that in my head, I'm like, okay, it's only 8 episodes. We're here at number 6. Like you
like,
got.
Don't you dare leave me like on a cliffhanger for what happens for next season.
Like you got 2 episodes to wrap this shit up and so like that, because if you leave me on a cliffhanger for a year and so like that, I'm gonna be pissed and stuff like that. Like because I need to know. Like I agree, and I love cliffhangers. Don't get me wrong. I love like.
But you want small cliffhangers. You're not like the whole end of the world cliffhanger. Like I need to know.
Infinity War Endgame, that was built up for a huge cliffhanger for that reason. But we know that we're getting a ton of freaking content for that. So with Mandalorian, you're on a smaller scale with the TV show, so that. But even the fact that you're on a smaller scale, you've proven to be bigger than some of the movies that I've seen, put out there, DCEU, to be, something that is of such good substance that I'm willing to take the hit for it if you give me a big cliffhanger to leave me going for a year. But no, I think they did it well. Where they set it up, Grogu's in danger, so like that. Moff's got him back and stuff like that. What's about to happen? How is Mando going to take care of this? And
then you had that, Star Destroyer literally blow up the Razor Crest, and then Boba's like, "Look, we had a verbal agreement. Basically, I said until the child was returned to your hands in safety, and I had my armor, which my half of the deal got completed, whether stolen or otherwise. I have not fulfilled my end of the bargain. I'm with you till we get Grogu back."
And
so,
it's like, all right.
Him and Fennec Shan throughout that whole episode. Holy hell. I mean, it's one of the shortest episodes of the damn season. My God, Boba. My God. Jetpack. You had knee missiles. You had blasters. You did the whole spin-a-rooney, put it back in your holster. Like, you did the whole kit and caboodle. I was thrilled. Even though, how that episode ended.
That was visual confirmation.
Boba was that dude.
That showed why he was the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. Because at that point, there's a scenario where you're able to
say he hasn't done anything on screen.
Because in live action, because that's the thing, he was a character that originally I think was probably only expected to be a throwaway character.
Lucas came out and said, "Yeah, that's a throwaway character," but the next thing you know, EU happened and
they were like,
Boba got
oh,
that.
that guy right there was so cool. Because one thing about it, you know what I'm saying, and we'll get into this a little bit more later. Not everybody cares about the same characters. People have a preference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I play
Obi-Wan.
role playing games, pen and paper. You know what I'm saying? You have video games where you can choose classes. Some people prefer XYZ class, others prefer ABC class. Not everybody's looking for the same thing. And honestly, a character like Boba Fett gave something to people who were looking for a character like that. He was always kind of a gunslinger. He was always kind of standing off to the side as like a badass. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he was strong and silent and didn't have to say a lot. Respect was put on his name when he walked in the room. The fact that Vader had him on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? He looked like Vader's right-hand man.
And Vader literally would talk to him on level playing field. He wasn't condescending when he talked to Boba. He was just like, the only time he was ever condescending to Boba on screen, he's like, look, don't do this job like you did the last one. I need them alive.
And no kill, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Don't incinerate them this time. I need them alive.
Mm-hmm.
So
those simple words, you're just like, huh, okay.
That's one of those things that kind of like, it's always been implied and always been understood that he was that dude. And there have been books, which are now legends, that explained that he was that dude. So it was nice to actually see canonical evidence of how badass Boba was. And that was much needed. So very impressive. Did we cover the chain link?
We covered the chain link of literally like, look, if you're worried about the armor, you see that name up there, Jango Fett? That's my daddy. I am his unaltered clone. Like, he's a foundling. It's good. Like, I've earned this. Don't worry about it.
It's important that was another canonical instance. We can finally end the debate as to whether or not they're real Mandalorians. Jango was a foundling, so he's as much Mandalorian as Mando is. End of discussion. We ain't got to talk about it not now more.
Sorry, fanboys. That conversation is over.
That's dealt with. That was without a doubt one of the better episodes.
Short, sweet, and to the point.
As you mentioned, short but so good, so to the point.
Thank you, Robert Rodriguez.
Credit to Robert Rodriguez. I want to make sure that Fennec Shand gets her little moment in the.
Oh, we discussed her at length.
Okay, cool.
That's what I started with.
All right. All right.
I let Will take the floor, and he nailed it.
I trusted y'all to handle that episode. We good.
Really, you got the Marine handling action. We're good.
That's why. Honestly, you know, like for those of you at home watching and whatnot, I've got a daughter, and she decided tonight was ladies' night. So that's why my background is what it is, because I'm not in my office, and I was on fire patrol. I like my house and had to go and tend to the fire that was going out for the ladies. But you know, nonetheless, we're back. So
next episode,
chapter 15. The Believer.
Oh, this was such a good episode. This was probably actually my favorite episode all season.
Really?
Yep, this one because of Bill fucking Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr was fantastic. And
I didn't even know he could actually act.
I mean,
like,
first of all,
damn.
Look, first of all, we're gonna talk about the fact that we're watching Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta get that out of here first. All right, Star Wars. It's a great show. We're watching Star Wars. But
shout out
Bill
to Boston
Burr
and their atrocious accents.
Was definitely fantastic in this episode, and it was.
He was a perfect level of realism, but at the same time, he was still extraordinary in his circumstances.
I was gonna riff on the title, calling it The Believer, and call it. It was such a believable episode as Mayfield, because, you know, this episode definitely speaks to something that I had mentioned earlier, how there's good in everyone. You know what I'm saying? And this was Bill Burr's opportunity to show that Mayfield is, in fact, not as bad as we thought.
Some level of empathy to his character, because originally you're just like, oh, you're just an ex-stormtrooper who's now CIA. Well, not CIA, he's a bounty hunter. You're just like, he's probably not a good dude. And all you knew from him,
nothing
he's
about
like,
him kind of leans off as being good. But now there was something, and I want to point this out. At the end of the previous episode, I had watched a video. I don't recall who it was from, but I watched a video, and they pointed out that there was going to be an issue with Mando getting on this ship. Now, they went kind of wide with it, and they were a little early, but I got to give them credit, they were dead on, they were accurate. The moment the child gets picked up by the Dark Troopers, and he ends up back on the ship with Moff Gideon. And did we cover the whole like Baby Yoda?
We did not cover Baby
we didn't cover
having his Sith moment. We didn't cover that.
Okay.
Those were Sith powers.
We'll
I don't want
come
anybody to get that twisted.
We'll come back to that. But, and that's another thing. The fact that they had some handcuffs that would fit Grogu, that was
adorable.
Let's just take a moment and recognize, like, maybe they really are the bad guys. They have baby handcuffs.
We got sizes for everybody.
They have little itty bitty tiny handcuffs. So maybe, just maybe, they're the bad guys. Something to think about. It wasn't like these handcuffs were too big and they were falling off. No, they had some little tiny handcuffs to go in his little tiny arms. I thought that was so adorable.
For parents whose kids just won't let them go to bed.
But
so y'all playing like that's not the actual thing. There are actual thumb cuffs.
Right.
Like
I mean,
that are used. So it's like, hey.
You know what? They still use Phillip head screwdrivers in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago. So why not? Yeah, just the fact that we have Grogu on the Imperial cruiser.
Destroyer.
Right.
It's a cruiser. It's more cruiser. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like he's on this Imperial cruiser. There's no way to sneak on that ship. Not in your Mandalorian armor. So the idea right away became like, how are we going to pull this off? So having Mayfield, and again, it was one of those things where it's like they kept building up, because he's like, so wait, the moment he changes outfits and comes out of the Mandalorian armor and puts on the Stormtrooper outfit, I was like, you know what? Technically, okay, he changed in another room. Nobody saw his face, because this isn't the first time he's taken his helmet off, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He took his helmet off in season 1.
Because he was dying and he had to.
And it wasn't a person that he was taking it off
bingo.
of.
It's a
he
robot.
took it off in front of the droid, who was not
IG-11.
Ergo.
Who didn't last that episode, by the way. Like
he died a hero.
He did. I mean, that was, you talk about a babysitter. Like, I'm going to tell you now, if you not trying to like blow up for my kids, don't even try to ask to watch them. Like, I need you all in like this. Okay? Need you walking through lava, ready to self-detonate to protect my child. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't apply. But yeah, I mean, like he's already hinting and questioning. And mind you, we had a couple episodes back where we saw Mandalorians taking their helmets off, and that wasn't that big a deal, apparently. And now Mayfield's having this whole conversation with him about, he was like, so what is it? You can't take the helmet off. You can take the helmet off. What? You can take the helmet off, just nobody can see your face? Like, what's really going on here? And he starts basically trying to like make you
goad him into just, like, what is your reason behind this? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because someone told you to, or because this is what you think is right?
He's just trying to make question his really reason, question the real reason why you wear the helmet. Like, what is not just for protection? Like, what is the underlying factor that you won't take it off? Because like Mayfield doesn't really care to see your face. I don't think Mayfield gives a fuck whether he sees your face, but he just wants to know why. And that's
But
the
even
biggest.
then, I don't think it was so much about kind of like what Brent was saying. I don't think it was so much about why you won't take the helmet off, but how does that define who you are? What do you believe in as a person? Because, this thing isn't going to be here tomorrow. This could happen, that could happen. There's so many different variables in life. And that's kind of the whole conversation Mayfield's having. Because keep in mind now, at this point, we're still kind of looking at this guy with the side eye. We know he was Imperial. You know what I'm saying? We know he used to be a stormtrooper. We're kind of looking at it with a side eye, like, you just that dude and whatnot. Then, of course, a little bit later on, we start to see some of the other conversations he's having, and we come to understand that he is basically an advocate for free thinking. Like, he just believes that people should think for themselves,
Not just follow orders blindly.
not to just get caught up in doing what you're told.
Oh, I got something for this. Don't worry.
Ooh, I like where that's going.
No. And it is absolutely 100% relevant. And I'm glad that he's on this call specifically because that comes up to another conversation that comes up in just a little bit. So they end up finally being able to infiltrate. And that's the only reason that they even got Mayfield out in the first place was because he was he was Imperial Army. He would have access. He would know how to get to Moff Gideon's cruiser, and that's what they need. They need to know how to get to Moff Gideon.
The only thing that tricked me out about this whole episode was we are literally actively rooting against the good guys. The people that were trying to blow up the Imperial line of supplies or whatever are in all likelihood people trying to save their planet. They're probably good guys. But for this intensive purposes, we have to root against them. Like,
it's not even that
if you think about it like that, you're just like,
no. It's not even that we're rooting against them. We're just rooting for Mando.
Yeah.
Because had Mando not been on that particular transport,
we wouldn't have cared.
Nobody
would
would
have
have
been like, blow it up. Because there was, if you
Mando
did you look through the end credits of this episode?
Succeed. We wanted Mando and Mayfield to succeed. What'd you ask?
Did you look through the end credits of this episode?
Yes, and I was gonna.
Because there was a Poe Dameron
reference where this was reference to him being the smuggler that was hinted at and never mentioned again because it wasn't really relevant in the first place. But in the images that they show at the end of the episode, which are basically like the storyboards and the
which are so cool and so creative.
Visual.
Yeah.
There's a specific word that they use for that, but it's basically the images that they create to kind of give you an idea of what their visual idea is. Like, this is what I want
inspiration for that scene
it's
or
their
whatever.
Storyboard. Yeah,
storyboarding. And in one of those images, one of the transports that was being attacked by that jacket, Poe Dameron. And so that was a nice little touch, a nice little callback again, just showing how everything is kind of interconnected and it's all together.
It's crazy that it's connecting nicely now, though. That's weird. It's like Filoni and Favreau know what they're doing.
So smooth. And there's something that you mentioned that I'm gonna bring back up when we get to talking about the previous episode, because in the we're on the Believer now, but on the tragedy, there's an element in the tragedy that relates to the season finale. So just remind me there. And
okay, you're on the infiltration. That's where we're at before I kind of sidetracked us.
Okay. So they've managed to survive being attacked by all these locals who are trying to stop them from transporting this mineral, which is highly volatile and explosive. And this mineral, they're going to do something with it, probably build more bombs, because that's what the Imperial Army does. They make Death Stars and they blow shit up. They finally infiltrate this particular base, and they've got on the costumes and everything, and they get ready to go to one of the
Terminal
basically
bays.
like a little computer kiosk. And he says, they've got the right hacking materials, what I'm saying, spikes for those of you who play the games. He's going to go to this terminal, and he can get the coordinates to Moff Gideon's cruiser if he can get to this terminal. On the way to the terminal, he realizes he can't go in there because a former commanding officer happens to be in that particular mess hall. They're like, basically, it's like a cafeteria. Everybody's cheering for them because they're the only ship or the only transport that actually made it back with their payload. And it's like, oh my God, they can't believe they made it. Da, 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 da. So, of course, they're like, everybody's patting them on the back. They're little heroes and whatnot. And Mayfield is basically like, look, I'm sorry we wasted your time. I can't go in there. He might recognize me. I don't want to be recognized. I'm out of here. They argue for a moment. Mando's like, no, we have to do this. We have to do this. We have to do this. And basically, he's like, just tell me what we have to do to make this work. Mayfield's like, it's not going to work. You got to show your face at the terminal. The moment he said that, I was like, oh, dude.
Like,
because
here it
now,
is.
in order to get through this computer system, Mando's got to show his face. It's the only way this terminal is going to work. It actually needs face recognition. Doesn't matter what face, but it has to have face recognition. So he initially tries to go up, and he presses a couple of keys, and he uses the spike, and nothing's happening.
With his helmet on
then
the first
he
couple
takes the
times.
helmet off. He takes the helmet off. The device reads. It gives the coordinates, puts it on the little spike, which is basically like a futuristic thumb drive. And everything looks like it's going to be good. Commanding officer swings over, wants to talk to him. Mayfield jumps in to kind of help save the day. Puts himself completely at risk because, keep in mind, this officer might recognize him because he was previously his commanding officer. One of the best dialogues in the series takes place at this point.
Right there.
Because we get to see another side of
the Empire.
Star Wars. Just in general, like the totality of all of it. There's another one that happens in the last episode, and I'll bring that one up too. But Mayfield talks about a particular battle that took place. And basically, you can tell that Mayfield is suffering what's referred to as survivor's guilt, where a lot of stormtroopers died.
It is a form of PTSD.
This officer doesn't seem to care. And he's basically like, oh, we'd have thrown as many soldiers at it as we needed to resolve the situation because it's all for the great of the Empire. And you can just see, like, I could feel the sweat building up on Mayfield's forehead while this officer is talking. And they're going to, like, raise a glass to the Empire and this, that, and the other. And
Mayfield's pissed.
Blasted to the face. Like Mayfield can't take it. He literally snaps. That
the funny thing about that battle, though,
Mayfield having to transport, all goes to Mayfield talking about being an individual, thinking for yourself, and being true to what you believe.
But the funny thing about that battle, the one that they specifically referenced,
one of the most powerful conversations,
Operation Cinder,
one of the most powerful scenes I had seen in this show, and I was floored by it. And the fact that it came, as you mentioned, Brent, the fact that it came from Bill Burr.
Yeah, because they literally canonized a video game battle with this. Bill Burr displayed every type of human emotion you would expect from someone suffering through that form of PTSD that Will was saying, of survivor's guilt that you were elaborating on. He was literally going through, he was like, you literally just threw my friends' lives away. And the officer, who was actually that actor, was the Night King for Game of Thrones. That is the same exact actor. That's why I was staring at his face and like, I know him from Kingsman because he has a small piece in that one. I'm like, where else is he from? I have to recognize him. I was like, no, that's the damn Night King. So that was another piece. But like, the officer was literally like, I don't give a damn how many people I would throw away. As long as we got the objective done, who cares?
Now here's where I'm gonna chime in and stuff because this actually speaks true and stuff like that to a lot of stuff that's dealt with in the military and stuff like that. You know, you've got the lower ranking troops and stuff like that that have to go through, and we're giving orders. We're giving orders to fight. We're giving orders to take an objective. And again, not every branch of the military is like this. Not my branch of the military is just like this. But there are moments in there where there are higher up officials that make decisions, but they don't see the faces necessarily of who it is. Like they don't care what's going on. There's an objective that has to be done, and we'll throw as many bodies at it as it takes to get done, and stuff like that. Because we're, this particular freaking, we're this, and we can't lose. And so that like we all know that we're America. We're not finna take an L by no means. We're finna fight for whatever. So that, and that's why it's like looking at the empire, so that like, yeah, you see them taking their cues and so that it's like, yeah, that's like in an American, thing, so that like we're not gonna take this L. We're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that we win this fight and stuff like that. And Bill Burr's character, he was so adamant that I can't go in there because I'll be recognized and so that. And the guy was looking at him like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, I don't really know who you are. So that's how unimportant you are to me. And again, that's something else that I think also helped trigger this character. So that because he's like, I'm in here and I saw you that Mando made a sacrifice because Mando showed that he was about something, which is brings back to the previous conversation that they were having in the truck. That Mando is willing to show like it's not about the helmet, so that like there's something deeper there for Mando with reobtaining Grogu. And then he saw this, so he was willing to put himself, that free thinker is willing to put himself in harm's way to make sure that he obtained his objective. And then by realizing that he was not even worth a damn to this guy, and that he was talking so nonchalantly about all his friends that went through hell and died in this process, so that again, that's PTSD. He freaking snapped and lost it. And we see a lot of that in, you don't always get to confront what it is that causes you that PTSD, that causes you that stress. And a lot of times that, and again, I'm gonna get freaking, forgive me, but I'm gonna get it for a minute. We lose a lot of people to, suicide and all that kind of stuff because they can't confront this kind of stuff. So for me, this episode was very important and stuff like that because granted, I'm not advocating violence and stuff like that, in general, so that, but to be able to deal, to be able to sleep at night, to be able to deal with a lot of this stuff is important. And that's why I think it really did justice for the character and stuff like that in this universe, so that to be able to have that full circle closure, to be able to understand the gravity that's felt with something like this. And it shows more with like characters like Finn's characters like that, who was severely underused in the Star Wars universe. He's been through a lot. He's like, you saw him experience this stuff, and you saw the moment where he ran away and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
And
mean, you see the moment that broke him when the one
yeah,
soldier put his hand up and he had the little streak across
Yeah,
his
because there's
helmet.
a book that elaborates that's one of his best friends that dies. And that's
yeah,
his first like actual battle. So he's like, he's never dealt with loss before. This was his first go round. He's just, oh,
yeah.
screw this. I want nothing to do with this.
And Bill Burr's character, who's obviously a veteran, who's been through a couple of these type of things like that, and this is one of the bigger ones for him. And this is the one that probably triggered him to leave, to go, or whatever. Like, there's so much stuff that goes on with it. Like the depth that's in this show and it's in this episode, so with that, like you see the climax rise and with that. And episodes 6, 7, and 8, I'm like this the entire time. Like I'm riding this freaking wave the entire time, waiting for the drop and stuff like that, and it's just hitting so hard. So I'm loving it. Like this episode like did more, and this, I think this was my favorite episode as far as like the battle and stuff. That was freaking great. This was just the depth, the storytelling, the emotion, the acting, everything in here was just spot
And
on.
like that's why it was my favorite episode. The depth, the acting, the storytelling, and then the acting from people that you didn't think would have the chops to pull off what they did. And then next thing you know, you're just like, wow, what a character. And then icing on the cake, not only did he get closure, he didn't have to take that shot at the end as they're being carried away. He didn't have to do that. There was no one said do anything, do this, do that. He was just
It was more than just him. This
and
is
then
for everybody.
boom, the whole base goes up. He's like, "That's for my friends. We're good." It's like
And
I've got full closure.
literally, he clarified that when they were still in the mess hall, and he looks over Mando and he's like, "You gotta sleep at night." You know what I'm saying? Like he had to do what brought his peace of mind. A little extreme. We're not advocating that that is the answer, solution.
But again, this is a
But
fictional
for this
show.
But in
fictional
this
show,
fictional world,
it's
this was
Yeah.
what this is what Mayfield. This is what the character of Miggs Mayfield had to do for him, and you kind of sympathize with it, and he definitely sold you on how serious it was. Yeah, very very impressive. So impressive, in fact, that it's a darn shame that Mayfield died in that explosion on that planet.
Mhm.
may he rest in peace.
You know what I'm saying? So Cara Dune, she recognizes, even though he's Imperial.
Like,
she
am I the only
understood.
one that got like there was a little bit of like they were like kind of checking each other out? Am I the only one at the end of the episode where I was like, I think they're feeling each other a little bit? Or am I
I
reading
think
way too much into body language at that
I
point?
think he was shooting his shot early on, and she was just kind of like, because I mean, he had made a couple jokes. He was like, "Oh, I bet you're a bunch of fun and whatnot," and she just kind of stared. He was like, "Okay, all right, fine."
I, I I agree with you. I think that there's something there, so that, but I think it's more they're on the same wavelength now. They get it. They both had a moment and stuff like that. It's kind of like shared in the military and stuff like that. It's like you have that moment where it's like, okay, yeah, I get you. I understand and stuff like that, and that could turn into something more down the line or whatever the case would be. I wouldn't doubt that we'll see Mayfield again. He may be called something else at that point in time because Mayfield's dead and stuff like that. But there's an understanding there and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's like we're good, we're square, we're even though things happen and stuff like that, that we were on opposite sides, we're square, we got an understanding. So you do you, I'm gonna do me, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah,
Good job, Bill Burr. Good damn job.
great job.
And this is also the episode where we got Slave One dropping that mine with the sound. Like I lost my shit when that happened.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just that sounded like it went dead silent. And I'm like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. And then eviscerate those ships. I'm like, that's my favorite noise.
Yeah, that was
I was
a
hyped.
lot of goodness on that. Only other thing that's noticeable about this episode to me is
The transmission afterwards.
oh yeah.
I almost missed that. I almost forgot about that.
I did. I was waiting like that. I love that. That's that whole it's the Taken type thing. Like
Hold on.
like
I was about to say, you know what? It's funny you say it's the Taken kind of thing, because I'm gonna tell you what that is.
Because it's a direct callback to, it's literally like verbatim the same speech Gideon gave. To
it's a reference. Yeah.
Din.
Yeah, and see, now first of all, there's that part of it, but what really really stood out for me, that was a father talking about his child. So when you said Taken, that's the very first thing that came to mind. I was like, let me tell you something. Moff Gideon, my man been chilling. He been cool. He ain't sweating nothing. Did y'all see the little bead of sweat?
Bead?
Just
Yeah.
Just the one,
Did y'all
but
see
he
the
still
bead
had
of
it.
sweat come up on my man's face
Yeah,
when he
you-
was
you sh-
reading this message? Or
you
when he was
struck a
listening to his
nerve.
little voice? Like,
And he wasn't sweating
bruh.
much this episode. He was next episode, but I mean, there was
Bruh.
still that one sweat where like Giancarlo Esposito, who's been that dude, is just kind of like, oh,
He had that.
okay, I guess someone's got something
He's
for
been
me.
here the
Let's see
whole
what they
time
got.
with that same smirk.
He's like, what else you got? That's what that smirk is the whole time.
And
It's like, oh, I got
then-
plans for this.
And just an interesting side note. Don't ask me why, but the little communications officer that's been in like 4 or 5 episodes, like the only other person on the ship that talks to Moff Gideon, the one female
That-
The one
officer.
chick, yeah.
I don't like, man, punk ass.
She reminds me of Brie Larson, and I get so bored every time she talks.
So just go back and find any one of those episodes and find her name in the credits
Yeah.
and go check her Instagram. I'm just saying. If you choose, she turns out she's
she is a gorgeous woman, but I mean,
no.
she's boring.
Turns out she's an actual actress, and she has some other credits to her name, and it's got some good stuff. So I'm kind of disappointed because I like the fact that I was able to track that much about it, and she is a credited actress in this episode. Kind of makes me wonder, like, are you gonna do anything with her? Is she gonna end up being somebody more? She's not, and it's like I keep looking for those little things. Like they had the one guy, we're a few episodes back now, but the one guy who actually like put the tracking device on the Razor Crest. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's all these little moments that you're just waiting for, and I keep thinking that she's gonna end up being something more. It only stands out because she was the one who came out. She was like, "Sir, you need to see this." And like she's been so calm and cool. She was a little shaky. The message played. He was a little shaky, and I loved it. And that was fantastic. Also, the only episode in season 2 that doesn't have Grogu in it,
which is fine. I mean, it wasn't. The show was not intended
to
be the Baby Yoda show,
right? It's called The Mandalorian, but it's
been an amazing character. So
I like that they give you enough of him to make you like him,
but you're not drowning in it.
But it's not just like the Baby Yoda show. You know what I'm saying? Like it is still very much the Mandalorian, and it's still about the Mandalorian. It is the
they make that point next episode. They really make that point next episode. So,
and it is so vital that you catch that.
Am I the only one that felt the finale? Have we touched on everything before we get?
I was about to say, I was actually going to ask, was there anything else for the Believer?
I didn't have anything.
Let's see. The only other thing, Rick Famuyiwa. I'm butchering that name. The guy
and you're normally the name guy,
right? The guy who directed Dope, Talk to Me, The Wood, Brown Sugar. He was the director and the writer of that episode.
Okay, good for him. Fantastic work.
That is great. And I just, again, more Star Wars representation. They do a great job. They got black directors. They got female directors. They're doing it. They're doing a good job. Yeah. I like the new direction. I like the way Star Wars is going these days. They're doing
Star Wars is finally, being inclusive. Way too late, but finally,
it's a large fucking galaxy.
Don't stare at me when you say that. I've always been about.
I mean, the fact I was kind of staring at the camera, but anyway.
Yeah, but like for the next episode, am I the only one that felt like the first 20 minutes was just at a breakneck speed for whatever reason? Like there was no pause for anything. It was like go 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 go. Like it felt like even the camera work was like it was too
I actually
rapid
had an
pace
issue in that first 20 minutes, and maybe somebody can make this make sense to me. Why the hell Cara Dune rifle jam?
Plot device. I don't know.
All right.
Just to make her next scene that much more
what I think
impactful.
it was more to show like her brutality, because we've been seeing her shooting a lot and stuff like that, and I think that was just more of a nod to the actress and stuff like that, because she was fucking brutal in the fucking ring and stuff like that. She's like, fuck it, if I can't get it done this way, I'm gonna beat your ass this way.
I saw how she flipped that bad boy around and went in with a baseball bat and punched the hell out that dude and grabbed that dude and threw him. So I saw that.
I think it was just to showcase freaking like her strength. Like,
and I'll even go with Brent saying plot device in that
it shows the unity of like the girl squad that was kicking ass.
Jumped right in like it was
because everyone was hyped when the Avengers chicks had their moment. You better be just as hyped about the Star Wars chicks that are just throwing hands on everybody.
You know what's funny? That's the third time I've done this. I was watching that, and you know what I actually said out loud to the wife? Ladies, get it done.
They do. I mean,
I watched that scene. I was watching them go through and just take them, especially when the two Mandalorians jumped off the side
Mm-hmm.
and then they got surrounded and then they came back up. Bruh. I was like, yo, they is in here getting it in. These chicks is bad. Get to the next scene and she's like, okay. That door opened up. When they was in the elevator, she was like, okay. She's like, I got it. That door opened up. I mean, she was just mowing them.
Gatling gun, everybody.
And I was like, okay. So I kind of thought maybe that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to build it up like her body count was lower than everybody else. And then all of a sudden she had to jump back to the top. I couldn't quite figure out, but I was like, at no point. If that had been one of those things where like her gun had jammed multiple episodes and that was like a recurring thing, like that's her lucky gun, but it always jams at like a vital time, maybe. There was nothing that ever indicated that this should be a thing. And we won't even get into the whole dynamics of it being a laser rifle. How does it jam?
Like, how do you jam lasers? Like,
you know
okay.
what?
If you not
look behind the green curtain.
If you lock mirrors, like I said, the lasers they bounce off mirrors and shit. If you knock something out of alignment and stuff like that, shit ain't functioning right. If them D batteries fall out,
that
shit ain't
would
fucking
blow
firing.
up. Okay,
if they got D batteries in a galaxy far, far away, they got bigger problems.
You know
Something
what?
happened.
Go back
They
and
had
look
to
at
do
Ray's
something.
staff. They have Phillip head screws. Why would they not have D batteries? They have not advanced, but so far. Because remember,
Like, you can blow up planets, but I mean, we haven't evolved past D batteries. Whatever. All right, I guess that's what we're going with.
We need all of that power. And
I mean,
it
I got
takes
I
4
got this
D
Nerf
batteries on
Gatling
top of
gun.
that.
This Nerf Gatling gun takes D
Oh,
batteries.
man,
and shit.
that is
Energizer Bunny just keeps on going in a galaxy far, far away, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I just it's one of those things. Okay, so we are at chapter 16, The Rescue, written by Jon Favreau, directed by Peyton Reed. Original release date, December 18th, 2020. This was the big episode, the season finale. This was the fan service.
That crashed Disney Plus.
This was that episode. Like, let me tell
Look.
you.
Hold up. Sasha
I said my piece. You guys do
beat
it.
Boba Fett. Okay, like
Yeah, she literally stone cold stunnered Boba Fett.
Now, I did like how that even though she got his ass, when they broke it up, it was on some like, we both finna die type shit. Like,
Boba's ready to kill.
do not.
It was like I was screwing around, and I was like, I've had enough.
Look, I have been reestablished as a Boba fan. Do not play with Boba. Boba would take your ass out. Okay?
I will take full responsibility and credit for that.
Do not get it twisted. Boba would take your ass out. I was loving that part. And that whole conversation, that was that like, the only thing we needed Carl Weathers' character to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, this should have been that moment where like every major character from the season.
Yep, I told you
up.
they building up. They just putting stuff together.
Right, like this should have been like Mayfield should have came back, and they had what's his name, Jeff Bridges. His character should have made a cameo. You know what I'm saying? Like, just bring everybody back. It's the season finale. Fuck it.
I mean, if like we're gonna bring, Carl Weathers or
you know what, we should have gone back to
I just want him for that scene. Just
Oliphant. No. We should have gone back to Tatooine. We should have gotten the little Marshal, brought him back. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the Sand People.
No, I just wanted Carl Weathers to be sitting there at that restaurant, just be like, he's like, I've never seen two Mandalorians fight, and then it's him just with his jaw dropped, just eyeballs huge.
Right. You know what? And it's funny because I would just throw that meme out there. I've never seen two Mandalorians best friends.
This is not the way.
This is not the way. This is me being part of pop culture because I got young adult children and whatnot. I've never seen two pretty best friends. I've never seen two Mandalorian best friends. We're just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, bringing it back because I got to get ready to rip in to Brent because we talking about chapter 16, The Rescue, season finale. Will, any thoughts you want to get off your chest before I get started?
Is y'all
Well,
jumping straight?
he's been
Y'all
talking for
jumping
a long
straight
time.
to Luke? Is that where y'all going straight to it? Is that what? All right, look.
I mean, we can
Sam's gonna
build,
talk about everything in
we can
elaborate
build up
detail.
to it because I got my notes right here. So I'm gonna I still got to hit on. I still got some points I got to make about Ashoka. I could probably come back to Ashoka later because I've already fangirled enough for her because that's my boo. Not fanboy, I fangirl for her because like, whew, Rosario and Ashoka 2-for-1. Okay, Darksaber versus Beskar, not that important. I do want to get into this loot bit though. I ain't
All
in
right.
no
Well,
front.
the only thing I'll say really beforehand and stuff like that is, I love how they set up with the Dark Troopers. How he got rid of them, had to fight one and stuff like that, and they came back. It wasn't like an easy, oh, this is it, and we this thing we built up, we just got rid of it. Like they made it to where they are formidable and stuff like that, and they brought them back and stuff like that. Freaking like, oh, you just blast us out into space. Now fuck that. We still coming to do our job. So I thought that was nice little touch and stuff like that
Yeah.
to
Because
keep
that
something
kind of
going.
threw me. I saw that and I was like, oh, they back.
Yeah.
You know
So
what? I
Because
started
they were
off.
formidable to a point.
yeah,
It depends on who they're fighting, really. The
okay.
average person, they will murder you, but
Plot
like if they
armor.
bring out who you bring
Brent,
out, you're just like,
Brent,
okay.
no,
Plot armor.
look, Brent, I don't want to hear your shit right now. Look, all right, Mando had to fight one and stuff, and he had to use, all his freaking, his birds and stuff like that to make sure that this motherfucker
And
went
even
down.
though
Those whistling birds.
the whistling birds didn't, you know what? For the whistling birds to be
Effective.
not even
They
effective,
need
like,
fleshy targets.
Yeah, they
eh,
need puncturable.
I need somebody to go back and just double check for me, but like those were supposed to be like kind of rare, and I felt like my man pulled out the whistling birds every time some shit popped off.
Yeah,
Because the armor said I'm only gonna make you one. These are rare. Like I'm gonna make you one group of them. This is all you get. And Mando's just like left and right,
And I
just
feel like
shooting
he
them off
used
like
them
it's
at
a damn
least 3
fireworks.
times. Like I get if it was like not really a last ditch effort, but like that's the kind of thing. You know what? I would have been okay with that during the tragedy. That would have been an appropriate time where you're being swarmed, you're being overwhelmed. There's too many troopers. You know, you shoot at 20 of the little missiles, you take out 20 guys. That's the way you're supposed to use that. Using 20 of them on one target. First of all, how did you replace them 20 you shot when you was at the seat? You know what I'm saying? When you was at the tragedy.
look, this easily can be rectified if the armorer was like freaking like, look, I made you this. I only got 3 extra cartridges or whatever, and so with that, and you plan those out accordingly throughout the show. That would make sense with that. But he used them too many times. Again, it's like the revolver that shoots fucking 12 times.
Right,
It's
right,
like
right, right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not one of those things that like
it's a bit much. It's nothing that'll break the show, but it's
oh,
something
I
like,
promise
come
you,
on.
I'm not finna sit here and be like, fucking Mandalorian, man. I can't even watch this bullshit. Fucking whistling birds. He used them
Oh,
like 3 times, dude. You can't do that. What is that? I
so
promise you, that's not
look,
what
That's
I
I'm
ain't gonna
extreme
lie.
level of nitpicking.
Yeah.
That's so much.
So we're not gonna get that, but
I
again,
promise you, I'm not that guy. It was just
we,
one of those things that kind of stood out of my mind because I was like, he used all those whistling birds on one target. And Moff Gideon called his ass out and he was like, bruh, you was struggling with one Dark Trooper. What you gonna do with a platoon? Nothing. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Moff Gideon was talking all that shit. So, okay, so we got the whole conversation regarding the Dark Saber, Moff Gideon, the Dark Saber, Bo-Katan. We know that there's going to be some interesting movement, some involvement. You know, like I'm honestly curious to see what they're going to do moving forward because we have to look at what Bo-Katan is going to do about getting the Dark Saber and is leading her people the right phrase? Leading her people. She's the princess of Mandalore, and she wants
Reclaiming Mandalore.
Thank you. How is she going to reclaim? What are the loose ends? We've got. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the child because he left with a Jedi. So I am definitely curious what's going on with Grogu, and want to know. Oh, actually, you know what? No, because that's one of my notes here. I see here. I have my little word. I got blue butterfly, so I already know. And we also kind of talked about it. So let me say this. First of all, given the time frame of The Mandalorian, to me, The Mandalorian is very similar to Rogue One. there is not a lot of open end to this story.
Because they just closed it, more or less.
Not even if it could have been anybody. I get where you're going, but let me clarify why that won't matter. When Rogue One came out and we found out what the story of Rogue One was about, I kind of made a joke and said, I know how this is going to end. I was telling my wife, I was like, I know how this is going to end. She said, what are you talking about? I was like, I know exactly how this movie is going to end.
It's like they tell you in A New Hope how that movie ends.
They spell it out for you. And it's already been pointed out. Even in this conversation, we already know how Grogu's story ends. Like, you can show me all of this great stuff and I could get all lovey-dovey and attached and it'd be so cute. And I got the child's plush toy and I know what happens. I know what happens.
Kylo Ren.
And it's even confirmed at this point. So, I mean, it's like on the one hand, it's fantastic, but at the same time, it's like The Mandalorian was always going, like, the moment they introduced the child, they kind of decided how they were going to end this story. And that touches into the actual finale because they've done all these chapters under The Mandalorian. And the end credit for this series showed Boba Fett and Fennec taking over Jabba's palace.
Which is a confirmed separate entity. They're going to be releasing the same exact month of next year.
So that's two different stories.
To my knowledge, yeah, that just got confirmed earlier today. Someone literally wrote somebody who's hands-on with the project, and they confirmed, yeah, these will be two separate things.
Okay.
They said it'll be occurring at the same time.
I need you to forward that article to me because I do. Okay, that might shoot my whole theory in the foot because I was about to say because that right there, the way they titled it, the Book of Boba. Technically, now that Boba is bona fide Mandalorian, why couldn't they just continue the story, calling it The Mandalorian, and follow Boba Fett?
I mean, they could have done the same exact thing with Bo-Katan. I mean, there were options at this point.
And you know what? I absolutely believe they would do all of that because the name of this show is The Mandalorian. And as it stands right now, there are 3 prominent Mandalorians. Technically 4 if you want to include Sasha.
Technically 5 if you want to include the other guy who you credited earlier. Yep.
We're counting 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but right.
Sidekicks don't count.
The 3 main ones. Everyone else is side characters.
We'll say 3.5 because that is still Sasha Banks.
She's that chick. And
look, she tried to call Boba.
You should check out her Instagram if we're going to be talking about Instagram.
She tried to call Boba a sidekick. And say,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
But she was ready to throw hands with Boba.
I mean, that's fine, but she's a lapdog to Bo-Katan right now. So,
right. You know what I'm saying? She's second to Boca. Like, she's Boca's bodyguard. So, anyway, right. I'm with you. We got 3. Technically, you could do 3 different books and call it The Mandalorian, and you wouldn't be wrong.
No.
Din Djarin's story is now complete. I would like to know more. He'll feature in Bo-Katan's story because he's got the dark saber and she needs that dark saber. So we're not just going to throw him off to the side like he don't exist. He'll be back. But now we're focusing on Bo-Katan. Boba Fett just took over Jabba Hutt's palace. Walked right in, boom, boom, boom. And I love that they got the same guy. That was so awesome. If it's not the same actual actor, the fact that he looks just like that character from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, they just added some weight to him. That was literally all they did, to my understanding. I don't know the actor, so I can't say if they did the same thing. But I mean, I still like that they kept the continuity there.
Right. That made me so happy. Because he was like, Baba, I thought you were dead. You ain't come looking for me.
As soon as they saw the palace, I'm like, okay, what the hell are they doing back here? What loose end do they have here? Because like I think the funniest thing that everyone is completely missed out on, and I saw a meme on it, is like it's from Umbrella Academy 2, where the actor from there who came out as trans, I want to say, or changed
Elliot.
swap genders, Elliot, was staring at number 5, and they're giving each other the look, and it's just Boba leaving Moff Gideon's cruiser and Luke Skywalker arriving, both just staring at each other, just like.
Right. No. Because that actually came to my mind as well. That is another point that was going to come up. The fact that it was Luke and Boba did everything he did and then just light speeded out of there. Like everybody else was on the cruiser. Except Boba. Why would you have everybody else and not the most feared bound? Like, we've seen what this man can do. You not bored? You not getting on this ship? You not shooting blasters? You not taking these folk out? You light speeding away?
Like he could have light speeded back as soon as they took out the hangar. Like
so here's the thing. Technically, just getting him to the ship does not secure Return of the Child.
Mm-hmm.
So Boba Fett leaving didn't fulfill his agreement. I'm just saying. I don't want to be that dude, but
you're saying in perpetuity
he left
unfinished.
too early.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be there, but they couldn't have him there because if he was on that ship
and Luke walks in, you'd be like,
that would have been
about that.
That would have been a whole other moment. So I get it, and I'm not gonna nitpick.
Like you knocked my ass into the Sarlacc. I'm still alive. Screw you, dude.
Point apart.
That's why I left it alone in my talk.
Okay. Have we covered everything that we need to cover?
The hallway scene was epic as fuck, although I was still upset about who was the one doing it.
I like the way they introduced them. So like you saw, like, because I was sitting there with my brother who was watching it, so at that, and I'm like, when you saw the green lightsaber, you already knew, but the glove hand.
There's two Jedi with a green lightsaber that could have been at that particular time. It was Ezra and Luke. That was it. But as soon as the black glove came out, you're like, yeah, that's.
I'm like the gloved hand. I'm like, that told you who it. They took. I told him like, you better rewind it so that like they told you who it was, because he was like, who is it? I'm like, motherfucker, look again. So that rewind.
Like right hand, black glove.
And he saw it. And he was like, oh shit. Took him a minute. So at that. But he got it. So I like the way it was introduced. So that like they showed, they gave me the powers. Like I saw the crunch and stuff like that. That was what did it for me, as far as like that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something like he did some pulling and stuff, but no, shut up and you're done. Like that was nice. I love the way it was done. I know that you're upset that it was Luke and stuff like that. Freaking.
I feel like there's so many more possibilities.
I ain't gonna lie. It would have been nice because we saw Ahsoka and she's looking for whatever. It'd have been freaking like wild if Ezra was the one that showed up or some shit and stuff like that. That would have just threw everybody for a fucking loop and stuff like that. But I think that the point of Luke coming in to do it so like that was more or less is we know Luke in the future. We know that he's still around and stuff like that. Freaking, we know that he has the guilt. We know about freaking Kylo and stuff like that. It kind of ties it all together. Granted, freaking, I know you're talking about the lazy writing like that, but it makes sense that it ties together. And they've been doing fan service throughout this whole show, whether you want to admit it or not. Like there is a lot of fan service throughout the entire.
This was like
show.
The ultimate fan service, though, because
but this was
another Skywalker story again.
And so I don't think I really don't think it's a Skywalker story at all. It's literally he came in, it served a point to take Grogu and stuff like that. And to be honest with that, we don't have to see Luke again and stuff like that at all. Like he came in to serve his purpose to take Grogu, could do whatever and stuff like that. That was it. Grogu was 50 years old and still looks like that and stuff like that. So anything can transpire with Grogu going forward and stuff like that. They could literally continue the Mandalorian, We could have the Mandalorian back and forth with Bo-Katan. We could finish up some of these stories and stuff like that.
Episode 10 could be Grogu's story.
And so with that, and at the end, yeah, we can get to it to where we have an adult Grogu now, and now he's doing his thing and stuff like that. Freaking
Wilson.
to a
If
certain
he's
point.
not talking like Yoda, I don't want it. I want to be that guy.
I mean, it
And
is
I
what it is.
feel that, no, part of me feels that, but at the same time, I don't know if Yoda's speech pattern is
Because he was
Normal
dropping
for
his
his species.
head.
or part of his species. And nothing, because
We don't know enough to make an accurate.
the fact that they
Summarization of this.
refuse, Lucas will not give anything away. But I'm gonna do this because Will sent it to me, and I want everybody to. Because
Old Grogu, yeah,
that's my dude. He said that. Y'all see it? Do you see the pauldron? I see like a little bit of a glare.
I will put it in when I open up the thread. I will put that picture in there so everybody will get
so
a
that
chance.
you
to
can
see.
get the text that goes with it as well, because there's a conversation that takes place on the side that I was talking about earlier, and that is that joint. Okay, can I rip into Brent now? I just
Into
wanna make
me,
sure.
not even necessarily Star Wars. You just want to rip into me.
Well, I mean, you
It's
kinda had it
partially
coming.
Star Wars, but it's mostly you.
All right.
Because
What I got?
actually,
All right.
you know what? I'm not even gonna say that I'm ripping into you. I have a difference of
Aw.
opinion. No,
Will
I have
probably
a
will
difference
discuss.
of opinion, and I feel like it will turn into a discussion between us.
All right, have at it.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna poke that. So let's go. I'm moderating this little thing right here. Let's get it.
Brent, how old are you?
27.
I'm 42. Don't you ever fix your face to talk shit about Luke Skywalker like that again in your life. Do you hear me? Do you understand what it is I am saying? First of all, Luke Skywalker is that dude. You've said it yourself. I've seen it. I will find the damn quote and pull it up and tag you in that shit just to point out the fact that you pointed out. Luke Skywalker, when he was Grandmaster, when he got to the point that Yoda was at, was that dude. Ain't nobody better than Luke Skywalker. He is that Jedi. He is the balance to the Force. So if you was gonna bring anybody in this bitch and let him be the one, it was gonna be Luke Skywalker. Now I get
It's lazy
the whole,
storytelling.
you call it lazy storytelling. I'm gonna tell you what I call it. I call it giving people exactly what the fuck they wanted because they came to watch. Okay, let me ask you something. I'm gonna ask you a very serious question because I've been dying to ask this question to somebody, and I wanted to actually ask somebody who could answer the question. I waited and gave this question to you. That's the level of respect I have with your Star Wars knowledge.
Thank
And
you.
we got Will on the call too. I can't do better than this. I got the two of y'all. Let me pose this question to y'all. Can you tell a Star Wars story without talking about Jedi?
They were until season 2.
I want a yes or no. I'll
Yes,
let you
you
elaborate. But I want a yes or no. Can you tell a Star Wars story without talking about Jedi?
Yes, you can. You saw season 1.
Season 1 was good.
Yep.
Was season 2 better?
It was better.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue that point. I mean, I'd have to be trying to die on a cross for that point. There's no point in winning that.
Let me break it all the way down. Here's the thing, like Star Wars without Jedi, without the Force, because ultimately Jedi, Sith, they're two sides of the same coin. That coin is the Force. The Force is what gives a Jedi and a Sith their powers and their capability. We like lightsabers because that shit's just cool, okay? For no other reason. We not gonna act like it's an elegant weapon for a class. No, fuck that. That shit is cool as hell. That's why we like lightsabers, okay? Because if you took lightsabers away from the shit, It becomes X-Men, and fuck X-Men. We don't care about that. You can fuck that up all the way. It's just some motherfuckers moving shit with their mind. We don't care about that. We like the lightsabers. We like the lightsabers and the moving shit. So you got to have the Force. You got to have lightsabers. Now, Rogue One had no Jedi.
They had one Sith. That was it. Whole movie.
They still had a lightsaber in that bitch.
Which was the scene of that movie. That was the best scene of that movie.
Scene. But at the same time, we already knew how that movie was going to end. We just didn't see that part to know that was how it was going to end, and that was the shit. But even before that, you still have Donnie Yen's character in the movie. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Even though he himself was not a Jedi, he was still obviously Force sensitive, and he utilized that aspect of it. When it's all said and done, despite what people want and try to pretend, Star Wars is truly about the Force. Not about Jedi, not about Sith. It's about the Force. The problem is the only people that use the Force are Jedi and Sith. So when you refer to lazy storytelling by bringing in Luke Skywalker, I point out all they did was bring in the most powerful fucking Jedi at the time, especially, because this is the return of the Jedi. Keep in mind, this takes place after the episode Return of the Jedi. So this
10
is
years
after
afterwards. So
6.
he's got some training. He's got some things done. He's got some things established. It's almost a decade later.
And he's really the only one.
They always say only one, but then, we got Ezra running around. You have Ahsoka running around. You have.
I mean, you still only
you have
talking
all the
like,
stuff from the East.
I bet you can't name 10 Jedi that are alive right now.
There's 4?
Right. Like, you can't name 10.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about a whole... Now, and I only want to point that out because we talking about the same people who get pissed off about everything being a Skywalker or a Kenobi or a Palpatine or 3 or 4 families in the whole fucking galaxy. When, at the end of the day, Star Wars is really about the fucking Skywalkers. It's not about everybody else. It's not about all of those other people. It's about this one family. It's about
really
this
fucked up the whole galaxy.
Dude. I mean, they hit a lot of points, but I can't really say they fucked up the whole galaxy because some of that shit was going to happen regardless.
Because of Palpatine, yeah. But yeah.
Like, some of that shit was going to happen regardless. We can't put all of that on the Skywalkers. And then, even then, if you really get into a technical argument about it, because I like to do that. I like to get to the minutia shit. The Force fucking decided that Anakin Skywalker needed to exist. That is life balancing itself out. Who the fuck can you blame for that? You can't hold the Skywalkers accountable for existing when the fucking Force decided they should exist in the first place. Who do you put the blame on?
The father from the Clone Wars.
The father from the Clone Wars?
Because he's the one with the Force. His daughter was the light side. His son was the dark side. Anakin was made more or less by the father because they needed a balance. And Anakin was meant to tip the scales for both sides.
So is this some legend shit that I didn't read?
No, that was literally in the Clone Wars. That was an episode of that.
We ultimately though,
because Anakin literally goes up to him. He's like, "Why the hell do I exist?" It's like, my mom claims she ain't with nobody. I believe her. Why the hell am I here then? And then the father basically explains, "You're here for balance."
So we take Mr. No Name, some dude, anonymous number 1. You know what I'm saying? And that's the point. Life, to quote Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way. This shit just happened. And everybody wants to hold Luke and Anakin and the rest of these motherfuckers accountable like they directly decided this is how the fuck it was going to be. if anything, maybe you hold George Lucas accountable. But when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying, and I watched Star Wars, and I saw Star Wars, then I saw Empire Strikes Back, and then I saw Return of the Jedi. As a kid, Return of the Jedi was like the greatest fucking movie that ever existed. When I was
It
young,
is the pinnacle of that trilogy. So.
even then, by any movie standards, the younger version of me enjoyed the amount of action and lightsaber play that I got to see in Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back has a lightsaber scene. It has a couple lightsaber scenes. Return of the Jedi has like 10 times more lightsaber scenes than both Star Wars and Empire. By the time we got to like Revenge of the Sith, I was like shitting myself by how much lightsaber action was taking place. To this
as soon
day,
as Duel of the Fates hit, I was just
to this day, Obi-Wan Anakin fight scene is still perhaps like number one fight scene. Period. Like that is the pinnacle of lightsaber battles. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that,
yeah, for your opinion, yeah.
I was about to say outside of like maybe some shit that was animated, but as far as like live action movies and such, like there is not a better lightsaber battle because that is the culmination of everything that I thought lightsabers could do being done on screen. In addition to that, we have force powers being used. They're like boom, 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 boom. And they're both like kind of stuck at one another. Neither one can overpower the other. And the shit's just going back and forth, back and forth, back. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and then they kind of both get knocked back. And it's like, I watch anime, I watch cartoons, I watch movies, I watch TV. And like, this is the culmination of all of that shit happening in one scene. So, I'm Jon Favreau. I'm Dave Filoni. Guess what? They're closer to my age than they are to your age. And you call it lazy writing. So let's go all the way back to the episode where we put Grogu on the Seeing Stone. What do you recall from that episode? Did anything stand out? And I'm going to give you a hint. We talked about this shit the other day.
You're going to talk about the blue butterflies.
I'm going to talk about the blue butterflies. You know why I'm going to talk about the blue butterflies?
Because we had this conversation for several hours? Yes.
So you know why I'm going to talk about the blue butterflies, but let me let everybody else know why I'm going to talk about the blue butterflies.
Will, do you know why he's going to talk about those blue butterflies?
This is about to get interesting real fast, real quick.
Okay, real fast, real quick. So the blue butterflies are actually symbolic of Ben Solo. Brent had actually mentioned Kylo Ren earlier. And so right now, for those of you who are watching The Mandalorian, guess what? You have Disney Plus because that's how you're watching The Mandalorian. We'll assume that's how you're watching The Mandalorian. Anyway, take advantage of your Disney Plus subscription and go through all of the Star Wars content. There are these videos and all this extra content that you can view and watch and see and this, that, and the other. There's some shorts that you can watch and you will actually see that Ben Solo, just like Ashoka Tano was associated to that owl, blue butterflies show up with Ben Solo. Now, when we do the math, we determine that a 50-year-old Grogu puts us at about a 5 or 6-year-old Kylo Ren. Or, excuse me, Ben Solo. So Ben Solo would be about 5 or 6 years old at this point, and we already know that he's strong in the Force because his grandfather is Anakin Skywalker, his mother is Leia, and his uncle is Luke. So he's got a high M count. Excuse me. That was actually something that I was supposed to mention earlier. I have it right here. I've actually got
it. Was a nice way of covering up their kerfuffle with the prequels.
But it also kind of ties into potentially the sequels, because since we end up finding out later on that Palpatine is in fact a clone, the whole point of needing the child is because the child has a high M count. What do you think an M count is? He has a high midichlorian level. We're going to use the word. We're going to say it. We're going to put it out there because we're going to stop pretending like that's not what the fuck they're saying. He has a high midichlorian count. Because his midichlorian count is high, that means that the force is stronger with him than with someone else who would not have a high M count. By extracting his blood that has the high M count, they are able to use that blood and use the force power that's in that blood to do whatever it was they were doing on that one facility where the little alien guy was trying to help them blow the shit up. The little lava base, go back to that episode. That actually lends towards the possibility of where we get our Snoke and where we get our Palpatine in the future.
For those of you who are unaware, with metachlorian count, basically the more you have, the stronger you are. It's basically the higher M count. It's basically the equivalent of X-Men. If you are exceptionally powerful, you are what people would call an Omega level mutant. If you're a Skywalker, you are more or less at that level. If you are just a Jedi Knight or Padawan or whatever, M count will be lower.
You might be like a beta, or you would just have a high number. But yeah, like for those handful, because honestly, there's literally only like 3 or 4 people who are considered the Omega level in the Star Wars universe. There are people who are strong in the Force, but there's nobody that actually gets to the same level. When it's all said and done, there's probably only been about 10 people total who would have reached the Omega level, because everybody else has kind of found that balance and they weren't able to tap into any other register of power except their own. Don't get me wrong, like I know some shit. I be knowing about my Star Wars too. That's why I like fucking with you, because we get into this shit. So the fact that they brought Luke Skywalker in, yes, it's fan service. But it's also a closed-ended story. It's also, while they could have presented Cal Kestis, for those of you who played Jedi Fallen Order,
who should play that game because it is phenomenal.
It is a fantastic game. But you need to be willing to play a Souls game because the shit is hard. Do not.
Was it?
I mean, what level did
I
you
beat
play on?
The highest level, and I beat the shit out of it. I mean, I'm not gonna front like the Ninth Sister or was a cakewalk. She was a pain in the ass at last, but I died like 15 times before I got through that. At least.
I feel like I'm already
probably like 25, 30.
I was about to say, I feel like I'm already over 30. So you know what? You could, because I was about to feel some kind of way about that shit. Like you 15.
I watched someone else do it, and I saw their strategy, and then implemented from there. Anyway, I digress.
So the point being, when you have these types of characters like Cal Kestis, the moment I saw an X-Wing,
Cal Kestis, immediately gone.
Why would I think Cal Kestis?
Because Cal Kestis had his own ship, he had his own crew, he had his own thing going on. Nothing pertaining to X-Wings ever.
Why would I think Cal Kestis with
the closest he came to even being part of the rebellion was when he was hanging out with Baze Malthus. That was it.
Correct. And then, like I heard you mention earlier, like Ezra. If I saw the green lightsaber and I saw the X-Wing, again, why would I think anybody other? Look, I'm gonna just tell you, okay? Again, I'm 42.
You see X-Wing, you think Luke. That is who you associate with that.
When you say Jedi, Luke Skywalker, all black, green lightsaber. That is the very first image that comes to mind. I'm gonna take you all the way back to like 1999 on the Dreamcast. I used to play this game called Phantasy Star Online.
Online.
I had a character. His name was Jedi. Jedi. You know what he wore? All black. You know what he had? Plasma sword. You know what color that shit was? Green. That is how that works. Luke Skywalker is the very first thing that comes to mind when you say the word Jedi. That is where that fandom comes in. That is where that true fanboy, 30 years I've been waiting for this shit type feeling comes from. Now, objectively, because we had an extensive conversation about it.
Very extensive.
So I don't want to pretend like I didn't want or think or hope that they didn't use Cal Kestis. Technically, based on the timeline, they could have used Starkiller, Cal Kestis. I think
Starkiller is not canon. He's not included in what we have available.
I mean, he can be made canon. That's
because
the
let
point.
me tell you something.
That's the thing. He'd be so damn OP if you made him canon, though.
They get
based
ready
upon
to
his
bring up,
feats.
but see, keep in mind, depending on the time frame that they bring him in, or really, no, let me rephrase that. Depending on the timeline, they have to bring him in, because again, that's the problem with Star Wars. You got all this great shit, but it's all closed-ended. You can't really just go in left field with this shit the way you think that we can, because we already know how the story ends. It doesn't matter what the fuck they do with Grogu. We know his ass is dead.
As depressing as that is, yeah.
I hate to
How do y'all know he's dead though?
No,
Like,
look.
Did you not see The Last Jedi? The
Yeah,
whole temple and everyone in it dies. Everyone.
Okay.
It's not like there's
Okay,
any
look,
other spider. It's Luke. That's it. Grogu's dead.
No, let me put this
when
out
it's
there.
all said and done, check this out. We saw Rogue One, and we know that before that movie even came on, many Bothans died. Okay?
Okay.
We know that many Bothans died.
What's the Bothans for the second Death Star?
Having seen episodes 7, 8, and 9, Grogu is not alive. Grogu is not alive at that point. There's no
It's not
way.
even a snowball's chance in hell he survived.
There's no way
But
Grogu is alive.
No, I don't think
everyone at the temple gets massacred. They're going to leave it open-ended. They're not going to show it, but it is so strongly implied that
that's the thing.
Beyond hope.
You're so focused on certainty. Right, you're so focused on certainty so that, like I said, you don't have a body. You don't have anything that freaking tells you.
I would not want to see a body of Baby Yoda dead.
I don't give a damn.
No.
I don't give a damn if it's a 0.001% chance.
I get what you're saying.
That he freaking survives with that, but you can't say with full certainty that freaking he is dead. The story is left open-ended as fuck as far as what can happen with him. He could die by a horrible freaking burn alive, so that he could be freaking slaughtered by a fucking lightsaber. Anything can freaking happen, but again, I cannot let it go that freaking he is certainly dead without concrete evidence.
Okay.
I can't let it happen.
You know what?
So he's not confirmed dead yet, but he'll be dead by Last Jedi. There's something that could have happened there between that.
So that you can speculate all day. But again,
I will concede to that point. 100%.
The only other addendum to that would be when Luke finishes up training and he's literally about to die, he could have been like, hey, go see Grogu for training. Nothing was said. Not even implied.
Here's the thing. Let's look at the order of events. Let's go back to like 6th grade algebra, and we're gonna do order of execution.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
So we already have Return of the Jedi. That already exists. Now we got prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3. Now we have a handful of video games that are still considered canon. A ton that are not.
Basically anything before the purchase of Disney, well, before Disney purchased Lucasfilms and Lucas,
Correct.
is non-canon. But
Then
they
we
did
have-
say that Knights
Well,
of the Old Republic is canon.
We
So
have
7 is a thing.
we have the new sequels, and then we have the retroactive file updates that have been put into various books in order to canonize certain story elements. Simply put, you are correct, Will. And I will concede 100%. I am wrong. You are right. There is no body. They have not said that Grogu has been killed, that he is dead. So we cannot just automatically assume that he does not exist. However, given the order of events, and that was specifically why I used the phrase order of events, because I wanted to make it an algebra. I wanted to make not algebra. I wanted to make it an algebraic equation. I wanted it to be very simple. It doesn't matter who looks at it. It's going to be the same because it's math. Ain't no interpretation. 1 + 1 is 2 type shit right here.
I don't know. There's Common Core, goddammit.
Stay away from Comic Con.
I don't fuck with that Common Core.
Fuck that Common Core shit.
Oh,
But look,
man,
I get. Look,
why?
I get where you're going with this.
I don't. I don't even get where they're going with it. I understand.
I don't get where they're going.
Is the fucking point?
Exactly. It's like here's the thing is
What do
there's
you
a very
benefit? What do you learn from that?
How to be frustrated? I don't know.
It teaches you patience for when you have to deal with shit in the real world.
No,
I
it
guess
no, it
that's
teaches me how to break some shit. Cause fucking hell, I'm trying to help my fucking kids. So like I think The Incredibles 2 did it perfectly. Math is math. Why would you change math? Math has been around since fucking goddamn pyramids and before. Like, look, there's hieroglyphics, there's fucking cave drawings, there's fucking Bible shit. Like, I don't fucking look. There's just shit everywhere where fucking math has been math for years, and we get to this fucking goddamn decade.
Star
and they
Wars, the
wanna
math
change
edition.
Math, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's-
but look,
it's
when
crazy.
it comes down to freaking Grogu and stuff like that, there are so many freaking things that show the formula leading up to this answer and stuff like that. But again, there's that one variable, there's that X that we don't know what the fuck it is, and that's the sliver of hope. Because that's the thing, it's always been about Star Wars. Star Wars has always been about hope, and there's a chance and stuff like that.
I
So you
won't
can't
disagree with that.
No, I'm
Always
not
been
gonna disagree with
about
that statement.
So you can't freaking give it like as bad and as bleak as things look for Grogu. That it's like yeah, I see where y'all going. Like it's dark as fuck and stuff like that. But there is that sliver. There's that variable that's somewhere in there that he can survive and stuff like that. Whether it happens or not remains to be seen. But I'm putting that out there for everybody and everybody who's listening, who's watching that. There's a chance that this can go in a completely different direction than what we're expected, what the expected outcome.
I'm with you in that I want to hope, but I'm also looking at the realistic.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
What
I'm looking
can
at it too.
happen?
Like, I can say again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I know the realism behind it. I know where this can go. I know freaking what's probably going to happen if the events continue in the trend and stuff like that we've seen stuff like that. But again, that variable is whatever. And again, my favorite 2 words: situation dictates. Whatever happens in that situation where that variable lies for that is going to dictate the outcome of how this goes, and we can't decide that before it happens.
All right, we are at 2:49. So I'm gonna take 60 seconds. I'm gonna wrap up my final thoughts as far as the final episode, and then we will take the last 10 minutes and we will just hit a couple of other little points, and we will wrap this thing up because
I don't even get a rebuttal for you coming at me.
No. You absolutely get a rebuttal. In fact, if you want to do your rebuttal now, I have nothing to do tomorrow. I have all the time and attention for you. Please tell me what you got to say.
Give me your rebuttal. We'll do the final thoughts, and then we'll close it out.
I'll keep my rebuttal as brief as possible because we
You-
all love to talk.
No. I want the meat and potatoes.
I'm
of
like,
the
look, I
rebuttal.
got a
like,
whole.
no, don't.
Look, talk to me. What you got? I am.
My
ready.
rebuttal is this. I am not disrespecting Luke Skywalker. As we've talked about in an episode that will now have to air because of how many times we have referenced it, regardless of the quality of the video, it has to get put out there.
I will find.
I was arguing for Luke Skywalker and advocating for Luke Skywalker that he was that dude for hours. I didn't have as much cinematic references and backup points that I would have liked, but that's just the way the movies are made. That's what we got to work with. Luke proved he was that dude in The Mandalorian. I'm not taking any away from how badass he was in that hallway scene. If there was anybody that could have done that at that point in time, he was one of 4 Jedi. That was it. That could have done something of that caliber.
Right.
However, I hate that they used him. We had other characters who could have had their turn in the limelight, but instead you chose to keep piggybacking off someone who we all love and respect in Mark Hamill, but who is just too old to be continuing this damn role.
You say
it's too old for that.
Let me pause you right there.
He's gray-haired, gray-bearded,
right
and past that.
Let me pause you right there, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why that is an issue in and of itself. First of all, you're talking about a gray-haired Mark Hamill like we didn't get Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, okay? You keep acting like we got Force Awakens or not even Force Awakens, but Last Jedi Mark Hamill. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a whole gray beard. He wasn't like 60 years old. I need you to go back and watch that episode because apparently you seeing something that ain't there. I saw Return of the Jedi. I saw the Luke Skywalker that was sitting on a speeder on Endor. I saw the Luke Skywalker that was talking to Jabba and giving up 2 droids. I saw the Luke Skywalker that was killing Boba Fett. I saw a whole different Luke Skywalker than you saw. And maybe that was
we needed a different character.
Old eyes that was seeing it versus what your 20-something-year-old eyes was seeing. The shit was different.
Okay? Look, The Mandalorian has been riding on the fact that it is an original show that is different, that is not set to follow up anything that happened in the originals. Okay. That had its own new characters, with its own new background, with whole new directors that are not named George fucking Lucas.
100%.
And literally in season 2, they have 180 back to the fact that we were going to dick ride everything that George Lucas has ever made, and we're not going to do anything original. I've always applauded Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau for being original and taking some of the content that they made and made it incredible. However, if you're just going to keep dick riding George Lucas' stuff, what the hell is the point of all this new shit?
Hold up. No.
Allotted for originality
I got it right
and not
here.
done that.
I got it right here. 2 words. I'm going to answer that question, that whole statement in 2 words.
Please don't just say money.
No.
I hate it when people do that. It's
money
right,
2 words?
but it's wrong.
Is money 2 words? I got 2 words to answer that statement.
Got 2 words for you.
Star Wars.
Nice reference.
All right.
Star Wars. I said earlier in this whole conversation, can you do Star Wars without a Jedi? You said,
and I said yes. And then they 180'd.
No. It's not 180. No, I got to jump in here. First off, they didn't piggyback shit and stuff like that. Whatever happened freaking throughout the Star Wars universe before this stuff like that, it's not piggybacking. It's literally following the history of what's going on in Star Wars. So you can't call it piggybacking. That's a term that doesn't even apply here. So that because they sat there and they did the entire story. It took place after everything happened. So that
they just made him that motherfucker.
The story has been written for the Mandalorian, and everything that's going on was through the Mandalorian. When Luke Skywalker showed up and stuff like that, that wasn't dick riding and stuff like that. Again, it's everything that was off of the already established universe. Because guess what? Luke Skywalker was before this. Luke Skywalker was after this. And stuff like that throughout the entire story. So it doesn't make sense that he wouldn't be involved in any point of anything that happened within the Star Wars galaxy in the middle of it, because he hadn't gone on his sabbatical and just disappeared at this point and stuff like that. He's still that dude who's doing everything well. So the strongest Jedi in the known universe, and there's another
like
one
4
who's
y'all
calling.
motherfuckers, and he is the baddest motherfucker out there.
There is somebody calling two Jedi, like just a random call to Jedi. And you think the most powerful motherfucker who just force projected himself later on across the freaking goddamn thing, you think he can't hear this motherfucker calling and he's not going to show up? Like, he ain't got shit else to do right now, as far as I know. And he's just cruising through the fucking galaxy and is like, oh shit, somebody's calling, and let me go check this out. And so at that, and he shows up, all right, freaking yeah, I'll take care of him, I'll move on. And you literally put him in a safe space to deliver him and stuff that way, which also with Luke coming to get him and so at that, better helps your freaking, your argument for Grogu's gonna freaking eat shit and die later on and stuff like that, because of placement, where he is, placement in the story and stuff like that. Like, all of this makes sense to tie the story up. Like, all of this makes sense to pull it together, so it's not piggybacking, it's not dick rides, it's literally, good continuity to
Like,
keep
they could have used a
entire
different
flow.
character for this. Although me and Sam argued this for
Yeah,
hours on end. They could have used Kyle Katarn. He's the one who destroyed the Dark Trooper initiative. What the fuck just got introduced as badass villains that literally almost wrecked Mando shit?
Now,
let me
say this.
Who is Luke's number one Jedi?
Because I want to be
Kyle Katarn, because he was that fucking dude around this time.
I want to be 100% transparent.
Oh, we're there.
No, I want to be 100% transparent. After playing Fallen Order and knowing that the actor who played Kyle Katarn,
Cameron Monaghan,
is available.
Well, that's Cal Kestis.
I was hoping. Cal Kestis, I'm sorry. I was hoping that was the route they would have gone. Just because it would have been something new. It would have been something different. I'm not going to lie. New and different.
Original.
I would have been okay with new and different. But you know what else I'm okay with? Tried and fucking true. I'm okay with tried and true.
But that's also why we give the new movie so much shit, is because they literally just copy pasted.
No.
And now we're going to give Mandalorian a pass because it's doing some of the same things?
Because but see, those two situations are totally different. Because first of all, the new movies did not do tried and true. The new movies gave us all new characters, tried to do some different shit, but did it the wrong way. They did it new incorrectly, if that makes sense.
That is absolutely the correct way of summarizing what transpired.
That is why we have a problem with that. The Mandalorian didn't fuck around with the source material. They gave, and let me try to make this make sense. And I don't want to sound condescending by any means, but let me help you understand how I saw this. When I pointed out, how old are you, how old am I? Let me give this to you the way it came out. When Return of the Jedi came out, Luke Skywalker was the most badass motherfucker on the planet. Do you get that statement?
Literally anyone who's seen the originals would say the same thing.
Okay,
yeah.
So anybody that's into sci-fi the way that we're into sci-fi, any geeks that are out there watching and listening to this, understand who the fuck Luke Skywalker is. Just the name Luke Skywalker, there is nothing else that's like that shit. Luke Skywalker is Luke Skywalker is the Michael Jordan of Jedis. You know what I'm saying? There is nothing else that epitomizes who he is. That is Luke fucking Skywalker. Anything you do that includes Luke Skywalker is correct. Because it's Luke fucking Skywalker. Okay? I don't care if it's the Mandalorian, Rogue One, the prequels, the fucking sequel trilogy. If you include Luke Skywalker, yes. Fucking yes. Because it's Luke Skywalker. First and foremost. That's before we talk about director, actors, writing, any of the other bullshit. Just the premise of fucking Luke Skywalker by itself is enough for Star Wars as a whole. Individually, you got to break the shit down, but as a whole, Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. You know what I'm saying?
So now it's a character pass.
It's not even a character pass. It's
everything you just said was literally the definition of he is your character, so therefore he gets the character pass.
It's an idea pass. Because we got 9 movies that tell us Luke Skywalker is that dude.
6.
No, because what happens at the end of the 9th fucking movie? Who does she say she is? Rey what?
Skywalker. But
okay.
He wasn't in the prequel.
I'm sorry. I thought
he was like literally in the 3rd movie. That was it if you want to nitpick because he was a baby.
I'm sorry. I thought perhaps maybe she said she was like Rey Palpatine.
The wrong last name
or
because
Rey
she was a Palpatine.
Or Rey any fucking thing else except Skywalker.
Even though she wasn't a Skywalker.
And that's my point. That is my point. She wasn't even a Skywalker. Ben Solo. The entire story of Star Wars. Look, everybody want to pretend like it's just like, I get it. It's a fucking galaxy, okay? It is not a universe. It's not a planet. It's not a couple of planets. It's a fucking galaxy. There are so many people out there. We will never be able to count all of the people that exist inside this galaxy. But the fact of the matter is, when it's all said and done, act like you ain't watched this shit. This shit is about 10 people. The whole fucking story is about the Skywalkers. It's about the Skywalkers. It is about the Skywalkers. As much as we don't want it to be about the Skywalkers, it's about the Skywalkers.
Which is literally you just making my point. The Mandalorian was original. It was different. It was Star Wars without the Skywalkers. And then you 180 and you put this in.
No, there is no Star Wars without Skywalker.
The moment you introduced a lightsaber. So if you didn't like the last episode, you didn't like Ahsoka Tano's episode either.
No, I love Ahsoka's episode because it's not a Skywalker thing.
You don't like Jedi. You don't like Jedi.
I mean, his name is Darth Maul. I mean, look at him.
No. And I get that. But
nice
my point is, you don't like Jedi. And remember, how many times have I said it? And I'm going to say it one more time. Can you tell the story of Star Wars without a Jedi? Not
the movies, but I'm talking about Mandalorian. We're talking about the specific IP within that universe.
100% aware that we're talking about the Mandalorian, and we are talking about this specific IP. And what did we do? We went through all of season 1. Not one fucking time did we talk about a Jedi.
And it was still a great show.
And it was a great show, season 1. I agree with you, 100%. But what did we do at the very fucking beginning of this episode? Who did we introduce? The child. What the fuck is the child?
He was a Force-sensitive child. We didn't even know he was a Jedi.
It doesn't matter if he was a Jedi. It doesn't matter if he was a Jedi. He was Force fucking sensitive. I have already pointed out who deals with the Force.
Jedi and Sith.
Who? I'm sorry, say it one more time just to make sure everybody watching this shit heard you say that. Who deals with the Force?
Literally every motherfucker in Star Wars Galaxy.
Pretty much. You see what I'm saying? I ask you one more time, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to actually answer this question because you keep avoiding the question. Can you tell a Star Wars story without Jedi?
You could, which I already said, and they did. And then they 180'd. They couldn't tell season 2 without a Jedi.
So apparently you can't tell a story without a Jedi.
For season 2.
So could we have ended on season 1 as it was?
I would have been content with it. It was still the best thing Star Wars had seen in probably since you were a little kid.
No, I won't dispute that. But even season 1 still had Force powers. It still basically had a fucking Jedi in it because Grogu was doing what? Stopping whole fucking rhinos from killing Mando in the 3rd fucking episode. Any comments or
No, I mean you're
no?
pretty passionate about this particular point.
No. It doesn't matter if I'm passionate. Am I wrong?
No, but you're doing what most, people do in Star Wars universe that makes people not want to be fans. You're beating the shit out of other people for the sake of, doing it.
Okay. So then let me.
I feel my way. You feel your way. Let's wrap the episode. We'll call it a day.
Okay. So then I will leave it at this, and
I will just concede for the sake of everybody being happy.
No, you're not conceding. Don't.
No, I already conceded. I don't care anymore. Just move on.
No, don't. This is me and you. Don't you ever or dare fucking concede, because we could cut this shit off right now. This never has to get posted, and we could talk. And we
talked for like 3 hours. There's no reason.
We will talk just for the sake of talking. And that is my point. That is the thing. All I'm saying. Okay, so then let me say this, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll make a difference. Okay, so as I pointed out, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are clearly closer to my age. Was Luke Skywalker fan service? 100%. I'm not going to pretend like he wasn't. I never for a second even indicated that I thought he wasn't. That was total. The moment I saw the X-Wing, I said Luke Skywalker. I didn't say anybody else. I didn't think anybody else. I didn't hope anybody else. I saw the X-Wing. That's Luke Skywalker. And then we saw the green lightsaber. That's Luke Skywalker. And then we saw like a couple of things get destroyed and whatnot. And then we saw the gloved hand. That is Luke Skywalker. And then, lo and behold, you know what I was sitting there thinking? I was like, damn, I wonder if they used Sebastian Stan for this scene. That's what the fuck I was concerned about. Whether or not they actually used Mark Hamill or Sebastian Stan. Because how long ago did we see that Sebastian Stan could actually play a young Luke Skywalker if he was in the Mandalorian? You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it wasn't even a thought to me that that was an issue or a problem or a concern that we didn't want that. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that we're talking about a whole fucking galaxy and all this different shit that's happened. They have a video game getting ready to come out. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Because these 9 movies happen to deal with one thing. The fucking Skywalkers. That's all they deal with. But you know what? I don't hear nobody bitching about Harry Potter and the whole fucking Harry Potter movies, and it's only dealing with one fucking kid. Right or wrong?
Most people are just bitching about J.K. Rowling at this point, but yeah.
We're not even trying to touch on that. Yes or no? Nobody's bitching about Harry Potter dealing with one fucking kid. Everything that happens in the Harry Potter universe revolves around this one kid. At least in Star Wars, you got like 3 or 4 different people to deal with. At least you got some other shit that's happening. The entire fucking Harry Potter universe revolves around one kid. One fucking kid. You could interchange every other person. You could replace Hermione. You could replace Ron. You could replace his brothers, the twins. You could replace Malfoy. All of them other motherfuckers could go in and out. They could be interchangeable. But Harry Potter, the whole shit revolves around Harry Potter. At least if you take something like Game of Thrones, That's some shit that doesn't revolve around a central character. The only person that's even close to the whole thing revolving around, there's three characters: Jon Snow, Tyrion Lannister, and fucking
Daenerys Targaryen.
Daenerys Targaryen. Those are the only three people, because even Cersei has some up and down. You know what I'm saying? Jaime Lannister has some up and down. There's some other people that are kind of in and out. They're close, but they're not all the way. The only three people who actually have any impact for the entire fucking series are those three people: Jon Snow, Tyrion, and fucking Cersei. That's it.
And
You know
two
what
of
I'm
them are the
not
same
even, not even
name.
Cersei, but Daenerys. Daenerys. So Daenerys, Jon Snow, and Tyrion. Those three people, and they're from three different families. Technically, two different families.
Two.
Right. Technically, two different families. But you know
Doesn't
what I'm
it
saying?
sound similar and stuff like that to something?
Right. Like, you know, when you really kind of like break it down. So I mean, when it's all said and done, I don't understand why people have so much hate for the fact that Star Wars revolves around one family. You have all these different people, all these different things that are influencing the decisions that are being made and the way everything is playing out. And when it's all said and done, like nobody really saw the shit coming the way it came out. We get to these new movies, and it's kind of like, okay, I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but we've had a whole discussion about how 1, 2, and 3 were not the same as 3, 4, and 5, or excuse me, 4, 5, and 6, and then what the fuck were they doing at like 7, 8, 9? Like it's not the same. So to include the Mandalorian in all of that is not really fair to the Mandalorian, but at the same time, don't discredit what exists, what they could do, and what they did do. Because yes, they gave a little bit of fan service by pulling in Luke Skywalker, but at the same time, they wrapped up that story so that there's no confusion. Now, if after that we agree to disagree, then we just agree to disagree. And we'll let everybody else, leave your comments down below and tell us what you think, because I see Brent's kind of like turned off on me, so we're gonna let it be.
He's stone faced.
Right, like he done just like straight turned off on me.
He's like, I don't give two fucks about everything you said from let me say this.
He literally stopped listening when I started in that last round, so it's all good. But I mean, you know what? I will make it a point to pull that video, and if nothing else, I'll share it with y'all, because that was like a damn good talk. And I get you. Like, don't mistake that I understand the concept of like it. There were options. And they chose to go the route that they went. So I get that part of it. But at the same time, like, you have to kind of understand why. And for the story's sake, it makes sense. Like, you can't say it doesn't make sense to have gone that route.
I mean, if they're closing the door, this was the only route. I wanted it to remain open, but I'm not a writer. I'm not anyone with Paul. I'm just a casual fan. Well, my opinion does not matter on the subject.
I mean, at the same time, though, in fairness, there's still like a number of years that they can tell. There's a number of stories they can tell before we get to the point where they can't tell any more stories. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you think about it. If Grogu goes with Luke, and Luke starts his academy and brings Kylo on, and Kylo ends up being the one because of the whole Blue Butterflies. And again, you all just have to really like go to Disney Plus, look at all the stuff under Star Wars. There's some videos you can watch, and it shows the whole association between Blue Butterflies and Kylo Ren. And when Grogu first gets on the Seeing Stone, there are blue butterflies flying around. At the time that Grogu was on the Seeing Stone, Kylo Ren would have been between 5 and 6 years old, in which case, him reaching out through the Force, and we know that Kylo Ren is already strong with the Force because his grandfather was Anakin, his mama was Leia. That by itself is actually kind of like a whole thing. and I think I kind of outlined that a little bit more in detail. So just Brent, hit me tomorrow. Remind me to load that video where we had our whole little like long drawn out discussion because that needs to come.
That one will have to be like a multi-parter. We're gonna have to edit that one. That was like 4 hours of content.
I
love Star Wars, but I'm not sure. Like
it really
want
was
to
a
sit
good
through
bit.
it.
And you know what? Guess what, y'all? We did not invite Will or David. That was literally just me and Brent. That was
I know.
just me and Brent.
I'm a little salty about that one, but it's
He
okay.
was salty.
Like,
when
we
got
could have
on
had
this
Jeff
call,
on there too. Like we had people.
When he got on this call, he was salty about it because we didn't invite him. Because he was like, we should never not invite him. Even if he doesn't come, we should still invite.
Damn
I'm pretty
right.
sure we did, but I don't know. I hope we did anyway. That would be the right
you
thing
also
to
have to stress the point of what you're talking about because that's going to sway my decision. If y'all just like, oh, we're talking about DCEU, now fuck y'all. But you know, if y'all talking about freaking something like this, then yes, I need to be notified so that because I'm about to download Fallen Order on my PS5 and replay the shit out of it just for shits and giggles since it's backwards compatible.
There you go. You know what? I cannot wait. Let's see. What is our time at? We are at 3:15. Okay, cool. You know what? Fuck it. We'll go to 3. We'll go to 3:30, and 3:30 will be long enough for this video. Because for all of you who have somehow managed to make it to this point, first of all, fucking thank you. If you are at the 3:15 mark,
and you didn't fast forward,
yo, just I don't give a fuck if you fast forwarded or not. Do this. You find one of the 3 of us on Facebook, Grown A Geeks. You send us a message. I got a mug coming your way. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to make it even better. I'm going to sweeten the deal. I got a mug and a $10 Amazon gift card coming your way. I threw it out there. Fuck it. I said it.
I'm about to send you a message right now. Hang on.
Right. You got to remind me because I'd be like, what the fuck? Why is somebody... Okay. So, let's see.
First person to get to one of us 3 and let us know.
We need a word. I need a word. What's the
Wonder
word?
Woman. Wonder Woman's about to come out.
Wonder Woman? Okay. Wonder Woman. So the secret word is Wonder Woman. All you have to do is send either myself, Sam Morgan, Will Parker, Brent Tazamek, Tom Zach. I don't know why I always want to put that extra syllable because it's just like it's really
My
weird.
last name is a clusterfuck, so I get because Parker Morgan. So simple. You get to my name like, why are there so many consonants?
But you know what's funny? It's because you have two consonants next to each other and not a vowel, and that shit has always thrown me off. But I do know that it is actually Tom Zach, and yet I always want to like put extra syllables in this shit.
Yeah, just pretend the C doesn't exist. You got it.
Tom Zach. So anyway, you send a message to one of us, and you have to indicate that the message is Wonder Woman. You could literally just send me a message and say Wonder Woman in it, and that will count for me. Same for Brent. Same for Will.
Yeah, I wanted to make it non-Star Wars related to make sure y'all paying attention.
So
I'm just thinking you're talking about Mama June. That's my Wonder Woman. God, I hope she doesn't ever see this at some point in time.
No,
That'd be so weird to explain.
Love, because Haywire was that shit. Okay, if you have not seen it, please go check that out. Haywire was that shit. I'm a fan. I'm a real fan. That was my fucking movie. That movie was so... If you like Atomic Blonde, please go see Haywire. We would not have Atomic Blonde if Haywire hadn't done well. Boom, I said it. There it is. Okay, so this mug is full and it's not of alcohol anymore. So we need to wrap. 3:18. Okay. I'm going to do my closing thoughts and then I'm going to let y'all give y'all closing thoughts. We right around that 3:30 mark. And this is a decent video. I feel like you know what? We covered all episodes of The Mandalorian. We had some sidebar. We covered the good, the bad, the ugly, all the tips. I feel like this video could be loaded up Monday morning and I'd be totally okay with this going up as a spoiler video because we have covered everything. I want to thank everybody at Grown A Geeks, all of our members who stayed with us the entire season and did not spoil anything because you all are fucking fantastic. You know you're awesome. Continue to be awesome people that you are. Please don't fuck up anything come season 3. I mean, granted, we got a fucking year, so it's okay. You got plenty of time.
I still will apologize for the confusing ruling on my part. So Chris Terry and others who I've talked to, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
That was my choice, and I know it was admin approved across the board, but that was something I presented.
We really didn't know that season 2 was going to be the shit like it was. We didn't know that it was going to be this.
Yeah, there would have been so many more conversations in the chat if we knew that, you know, this was going to be the way it was. Like every Friday, there'd be a thread going from Friday to Sunday about talking nothing about what just happened in that one episode. So
I mean, we probably would have, like, just the way that we've edited the rules for the Mandalorian to come out on Monday and not Tuesday. If we had known the shit was going to be this hot, we would have already edited the rules, and your ass would have till Sunday at midnight. I mean, the shit comes out on Friday. You got till Sunday at midnight. What is you doing with your life? If you's not watching it, it is not priority. You don't need to be a part of this discussion.
Now, yep, keep in mind, spoiler rules are standard next time around. So if the show comes out on Friday, 2 p.m. the next day, embargo is lifted. We're going at it. So if it comes out on Friday, Saturday at 2 p.m., trust me, at 2 on the dot.
I want to say for Friday.
TV shows is next day.
Yeah,
Friday because
TV shows
releases
are
at
next
midnight.
days, and movies have
are
a
the
weekend. Movies
embargo.
have a weekend embargo. And given that ain't no damn movies came out at the moment, like TV shows have become the new movies.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out, like, if Wonder Woman, we're still gonna do the embargo on Wonder Woman when it drops.
Most definitely.
It's like that because it drops on Christmas Day, which is on a Friday.
Now
it's on HBO Max.
Wonder Woman drops Christmas Day on HBO Max and in theaters. Same day. And it will run on HBO Max for 1 month. And then after that month, if I'm not mistaken, it will only be in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Limited release.
I don't know if there's any kind of warranted adjustment to the embargo. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? Why bother? We already have established rules. Why fuck with that? So Wonder Woman's going to fall under normal rules as far as I'm concerned. We can talk about it, we can vote on it, but I don't see any reason to play with it, mess with it, or try to figure it out. Rules are in place.
Yep. So it'll come out on Friday and stuff like that. Freaking on
if
Monday.
You ain't seen it by Monday. I hate it for you. We gonna talk about it
on Monday at 2 p.m. The thread's going live, and all memes and stuff are gonna be flooded. So be ready.
Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm really thinking about trying to see if I can wake up Christmas morning and watch it then.
Oh, we're watching it like while we're eating, because what we do, we're gonna wake up, we're gonna open presents, and we're gonna eat breakfast and watch Wonder Woman.
And see, literally, that is literally what I'm talking about. When we get up, I want to know if we can watch Wonder Woman right then, because if we don't, that shit will be ruined by 6 o'clock. The fact that it comes out on Christmas and it's available at HBO Max, done.
I might be doing a little giveaway on Christmas Day, freaking too, for Wonder Woman. So,
you know, is that golden arm of Wonder Woman?
Oh yes, that's the flying one and the standing one. So I will be doing a giveaway.
What's your giveaway? Because I might need to enter that. Am I eligible to enter that?
Oh, it's gonna be no holds barred. I'm gonna throw it out there. So with that, it's gonna be a surprise, so nobody's gonna know ahead of time, not even you.
Oh, okay, so that means I could win.
It's possible. It's just strictly from me, and it's gonna be out there, but nobody's gonna know ahead of time. So
that's what's up. That is what is up. That's what I'm talking about. So we got a couple of good announcements going on right here. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I was going to try to stretch it. I don't think we need to stretch it 6 more minutes. We've covered everything we need to cover. I don't want to get to arguing with Brent tonight. That's my homie, and he feels some
Oh.
kind of way about Star Wars going back to Skywalker's when they had so many options. The fact that they went the way they went, he felt like it was lazy writing. I feel like it was just kind of wrapping everything up, putting it in a nice little bow. Ain't no sense of pretending and faking the funk when, you know what I'm saying? If they went with Cal Kestis, they'd have to try to figure out a whole storyline as to what happened with Cal Kestis. They go with Skywalker, they don't have to try to figure that out. They give us enough time, and if they decide that they want to do a whole Grogu side book, they can do that. There's plenty of time between the time that happens. I mean, that's at least 10, 15 years before Kylo Ren loses his shit and decides to flip the script. So there's plenty of time in between that. Ultimately, when it's all said and done, it wasn't like a whole lot got done because Grogu wasn't like super duper trained. How did he get beat by Kylo Ren? It's a whole lot of shit going through my head with that. Like, I'm with you. I am. Because I'm not going to lie. Let me just say on record, I wanted Cal Kestis.
We said that on record. We covered that.
I know, but that video hasn't been posted. And technically, since we're recording this video, the shit is not on record anywhere else except our conversation.
Okay, because we did announce the dates when we recorded. So if anyone's like, "Oh, no, you're just making another video up," no, we did this like a couple weeks ago.
So I want to say, I wanted Cal Kestis, having played Star Wars Fallen Order. Cal Kestis. I wanted that actor. I wanted Deborah Wilson. I wanted those characters. I wanted more out of those characters. I feel like I've gotten what I need out of Luke Skywalker. I feel like I got what I need out of Rey Skywalker. I've gotten what I need out of Ben Solo. I've gotten what I need or expected out of Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul, Yoda, Vader. Like, something new.
Even though Obi-Wan is getting, his own TV show.
And you know I love that shit, right? You know I'm so hyped about that.
Look, I'm only hyped because of Ewan McGregor. If there was anybody else, I would be like, who cares? That is one where the actor and the character have to be synonymous.
Fucking
which I get,
character.
like, I still get the whole Luke and Mark Hamill thing, but yeah.
Greatest
Another
character.
day.
Another day. The digital de-aging, although it was better than what they did with Jeff Daniels in Tron.
Or Henry Cavill.
They didn't digitally de-age. They were supposed to, like, remove a mustache. And
somehow they couldn't get that right.
I gotta be honest.
It's the DC universe. What you expect?
You know what?
I love Cavill, but that's like the only smudge that gets him.
Bad. I swear to God, it sounds so bad because like we have to do the three of us on a video or something because I really don't see the fucking problem. There's no way that the video that I have is somehow altered versus what the fuck everyone else sees. I get bad CGI when I see it, okay? I'm not tripping on that part. But, like, was his lip really that bad CGI that, like, we can't watch the fucking movie?
It's bad enough to where he's trying to talk and it's like, yeah, I don't, like, something...
It's a whole other thing. I don't want to get in the DC universe because we'll have 3 hours on our hands.
It's just aggravating. But anyway, freaking, let's let it ride with that. We're gonna.
I can't personally see it, so
no. We'll take a look at it and we'll get more into that.
Love Henry Cavill, but that was like CGI.
When we talk about Wonder Woman, when we do the review on Wonder Woman,
you know what? We will do a full 100% spoiler review, gag reels, Wonder Woman review. Comes out Christmas Day. I don't know.
I'll be ready. I'll be ready to do it Saturday. So I'm
first gag reel. So the first gag reels in like what 9 months?
First gag reels in like 2 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just it'll be a spoiler review, gag reels, movie. Because I mean, I really don't feel like any fucking movies have come out in 2020.
Yeah, Tenet, and then that one movie with Mila Djokovic, right?
Have you seen
Whatever
Tenet?
that was. No.
Okay, so we can't do not nail one Greg reel because
I
ain't
just got
nobody seen it
HBO
with us.
Max, so I'm
I
about
haven't
to,
even gotten there yet, so you're ahead of me.
so
Hit me after the call. So, I try to hook y'all up when I can. Y'all boys. Anyway,
I'm not gonna act like I'm not using your Netflix. I've been watching The Office like a motherfucker.
good. That's the whole point. That's why I gave you the cover.
I caught up on The Witcher, and holy shit, that was a good show. I was sleeping on.
Look,
Fuck.
I'd be really upset if you got my login if you not using that shit. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, Will, how we doing on VRV? You good over there? Okay, you busy. I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that slide because you busy.
look. Well,
We talked.
I
No. We
no,
talked.
a lot's going on and stuff
We
like that.
talked.
And let me give a shout out to Lisa and stuff like that because she's been a very integral part of the group and she's been definitely posting a lot of stuff like that. And currently, right now, as we were having this call, she was texting me. She is currently going through labor. So
Congratulations.
Wait,
yeah,
when you say
Hope all
labor,
goes
you
well.
mean like literally she's going through labor?
she's at the hospital right now, like that, and I should have a
Adorable
nephew,
photo shortly
uh,
afterwards,
Oh
hopefully.
my God! Yes, we have another
a
geek.
so
Another well-raised geek,
a
because Lisa's
nephew or a
super
niece at
smart on
some
this
point.
stuff.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is. So we're gonna find out.
They didn't do like a gender reveal or something? Just left everyone in the dark till day
I mean, the
of?
last time I saw some of the gender reveals, like California was on fire for like a couple of months. So we ain't doing no more gender reveals.
California just needs to take a timeout and sit in a corner away from the rest of the United States. We're doing some dumb shit out here. But that's another conversation. I don't want to get in. We are grown A geeks and we do not take part in said conversation.
We do not take part. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed. We have had nothing to talk about except Mandalorian because it is so great and it deserves all the attention. And all we covered was season 2. We didn't even hit y'all with the season 1 because that's like a whole nother 3 hours. And who got that kind of time? We ain't got time for that. You watched season 1. Here we are at season 2. Congratulations. You made it through season 2. Good for you. We hope you enjoyed. Maybe Luke Skywalker coming out with his green lightsaber and taking Grogu was what you wanted. Maybe it wasn't. Either way, let us know. Leave your comments below and tell us what you think. Give us your feedback. Was there a favorite episode you had? What was your highlight of the season? Did you like Mayfield? How did you feel about Fennec? Give us your feedback. We ask that you put that down below. Make sure to check us out on Facebook. You can find us at Grown A Geeks. That's Grown, the letter A, and the word Geeks. Grown A Geeks at Facebook. Of course, you can also find us on YouTube. You can just go to youtube.com and you can actually search the exact same thing. Grown, the letter A, Geeks. Grown A Geeks on YouTube. I'm Sam. That was Brent. This is Will. We are your admins. We're here with Grown A Geeks. We appreciate you being with us, talking all things Mandalorian Season 2. This is our admin chat. We just wanted to get some ideas out there, have some things to say. We hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to check out our other videos where we talk about all the other great things that are available on our webpage. You can go to Facebook and you can find us there and you can be a part of that conversation. Till the next time, we will holler at you later. And we're going to get out of here. Peace.